Today, I'm going to take you to the west of Australia, creatively known as Western Australia.
Is that true?
That's actually true. I'm just confirmed that. In the 1940s and 50s, where the people of Perth were left terrorised by the night caller, someone who broke into homes and took their valuables while they slept. Then it escalated. This James Clement is the story of a serial killer unlike any other, and the last man to be hanged in Australia.
Oh, damn.
Eric Edgar Cooke, known as the Nedlands Monster and the Night Caller.
Damn. I thought we were doing Who Shot Mr. Burns.
I know,
This
so
is good
sorry.
too, though.
This is good too, though.
Yeah.
If I can put that in somewhere, I will try my best. So do you know who Eric Edgar Cooke is?
I don't know this at all.
Oh, you're in for a goddamn... Well, no, I won't say a treat. I always stop myself every time I go, oh, not a treat, but you're in for a hell of a story today.
And I do have to sit here, don't I?
You do have to sit here.
Okay, cool.
And we can talk about The Simpsons as much as you like. So have you ever been interested in true crime?
I come and go. I try not to. I find it really grisly, which is why I like this podcast. The last one that I got hooked on was Teacher's Pet.
Mm-hmm.
But I was listening to it as that guy was still just living his life.
Oh, wow.
And every episode was like, yeah, he definitely did it.
Yeah.
But he's just... There he is.
There he is. He's walking past. Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, Chris.
And I remember I got to the point where I didn't finish it because I stopped it where the guy who made it, I can't remember his name, was like, that's everything. I don't know. Somebody should probably...
do something now?
Yeah.
I've got all this evidence. Can someone do something now? My favourite bit about all of the Teacher's Pet was how much he said Insular Peninsula. I feel like you could have a drink. That could be a great drinking game. He said Insular Peninsula way too much.
Just do it really solemnly, though. You know?
The Insular Peninsula. It was so funny every time. So you kind of go in and out.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Which is so fair as well, because it is quite daunting. And that's why G and I started this podcast, because we're like, oh, if we could tell the story and also stop and go, let's talk about this. Let's also talk about this. Like Who Shot Mr. Burns, for example.
We don't know.
We actually still don't know. That's an unsolved crime. We can't talk about it. But yeah, there's all these bars on it. You're like, well, we can't actually still talk about it. The people of thesimpsons.com, they told us to lawyer up many times. They go, you can't legally talk about it. But yeah, so in your world, are you kind of like, you go in and out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you like in film? Because, you have a wonderful, my favourite podcast, The Weekly Planet.
Whoa, let's settle down. We don't have to say that.
We don't have to say that.
Nobody thinks that. Let's not. But yeah, definitely. I mean, murder mysteries are great.
Yeah.
Obviously, a Netflix documentary will get me every now and then.
Yeah.
I particularly enjoy the ones that are just like, not enjoy, that's the wrong word, where it was from an era where the cops just went, I don't know. And it's like, it's very obvious.
Yep.
Like, just connect two dots. And they're like, we're tired.
We're tired.
And women are crazy.
yeah, that's
so,
right.
So, you know.
What's the interesting thing about when you look at the older crimes, like, in the 70s, in the 80s before, DNA and everything, there was so much of police just going, it was probably him. And the false confessions are wild.
Yeah.
And there's a documentary on Netflix, I think it's called The Confession Killer, and all he did was confess to heaps of crimes. I think he thought that he was going away for a long time and then went, well, I'll just confess to heaps.
Yeah, well, I'm here.
Well, I may as well. And it's wild.
This reminded me, I watched a recent one about Gabby Petito.
Yes, yeah.
And that, even though that was only a few years ago, that was very much, there were moments where the cops pulled them both up.
Yeah.
And she's hysterical because of the situation. And the cops are just like, you know what women are like.
Yes,
And he fucking killed her.
He killed her. They put her up in a room, I think, for a night, for one night. Oh, and that was it. That's all they did. But that is interesting when they start to look. Like one of my favourite things is watching because I go down deep, YouTube, which is a website for videos. I'll talk to you about another time. But it is pretty much like body cam footage of police rocking up. And I did an episode last week about Sarah Boone, who she basically said that her and her partner had half a bottle of wine, and then they were playing hide and seek. She zipped him up in a suitcase. Mm-hmm. She teased him, then went up to bed and thought he'll come up soon. Went to bed, went to sleep and was asleep, what she claims, for about 12 hours after what she says half a bottle of wine, then came down the next day and he was dead in the suitcase.
How'd he get there?
Well,
do they know?
They're playing hide and seek is what they say, but one of the main rules of hide and seek is that you don't help the person hide. So it wasn't even hide and seek. So then that happened, and then she goes down, and on the phone she is so annoyed that she is having to even do this. She's almost like, she goes off the phone, she keeps going, "What do you think happened?" And they're like, "Well, he suffocated in a suitcase." And you go, "Yeah, what do you think happened? He had an aneurysm or something? He suffocated in a suitcase." And then when they rock up with all this body cam footage, you can watch it all on YouTube, which is a website. I won't go into it again.
Yeah.
But it's basically the police are rocking up, and she goes, "I really want a Dr. Pepper." And they're like, Yep. I mean, the house is a crime scene. And she goes, "I'd really like a Dr. Pepper." And it just keeps going. And you go, how is this?
What's
but
happening?
also, how is this available to everyone?
Yeah, right.
That's the other thing. I'm like, who's uploading all the body cam footage?
It's me.
Yeah, it's you. Yeah, guilty as charged.
I was lying. I do know about YouTube.
That's why I brought you on. Yeah. But it is so interesting to be like, how is all of this so publicly available to a point where people are now just able to look at any body cam footage from an officer to go, this is actually them rocking up at the crime scene?
It really demystifies the whole process as well.
It really does.
Because you see how stupid people are.
Yeah.
What was the one I listened to on the way here? The Whittaker murders.
Oh, yeah.
There's no body cam footage in that, but it's just the sheer... just the brazenness of somebody being like, "I'm a genius." And it's like, you got caught immediately.
Yeah. I'm like Kaiser Soze, and you're like, "No, I don't think you are." But it is people just going, and I think that's there's a really interesting thing as well about, I was watching one, the Idaho 4, I don't know if you've been following that, but he was a criminology student.
Oh.
And so he was really like, he honed in on, I'm going to get away with the perfect crime.
He's like Dexter, right?
He's like Dexter, yeah. And he's like, I'm going to get away with the perfect crime. But there's no such thing as a perfect crime.
No.
And he left like his sheath of his knife behind. And you're like, but how do you think that you've got this sorted? I've got this made.
Yeah.
And it's like, actually, you left the major piece of evidence behind.
Did he do the thing where he told anybody, or?
No, he didn't tell. I don't think he told anyone.
He did that, right?
And that's the other thing as well. The people that just start bragging to people, like, "Yeah, I did it," and they're like, "What? Yeah, I did it." I go, "Well, did what?" "Yeah, I did it."
You know.
It's like, you know what I'm talking about. Did what? And that's also interesting as well. The people that kind of sit at a bar and tell someone a really long, gruesome story because they're wanting to get it off their chest.
Absolutely, they want I don't know. I was going to say condolences.
Yeah,
that's not the right word.
No. They want to be kind of celebrated and congratulated for what they've done.
I'm a genius.
Yeah, and you go, you're actually not. You did some pretty fucked stuff. And I hate to swear like that, James. I'm so sorry.
I know you don't like it.
Hey, I don't like swearing. I don't like swearing as much as the next person. But so let's talk about you, James, before we get into this podcast episode. So you're known as Mr. Sunday Movies.
I am in some circles,
yeah. And so you started on YouTube. You started a YouTube channel. You started as a teacher. Then you started a YouTube channel.
Yep.
So for you review films every week in your own way. You talk about films rather than review.
In your own way.
In your own way. Yeah, it's like me. You do crimes in your own way, don't you? I had that the other night when someone was like, "You do stand-up in your own way."
Wow.
Yeah,
that's true of everybody.
It's true of everyone.
It?
In your own way, I guess. I don't really know what you're saying, but I guess. But yeah, so you started a YouTube channel, and then from there, you and your good friend Nick Mason,
that's right, yeah.
You have a show called The Weekly Planner. Which is amazing. I've been a guest on it. It's so good. And how long has it been going for?
It's been, what was it, 2013, end of 2013.
Oh my God.
Too long now.
Too long now.
Too long now. I think I was in my 20s when it started.
Yeah.
And now, come on.
You're a goddamn silver fox. How do you go every single week going, because, you obviously have a passion for it. Like I'm really interested in true crime.
Yeah.
Now I'm doing a podcast about true crime.
Yeah.
How does it feel watching shows and movies that you would have once done it for fun and being a comic book fan? Like how does that?
For me, it's still fun because it's, even if it's something bad, it's like, well, I have something to say about this.
Sure.
And it's like, it's a privilege. Like I used to, like you say, I used to be a teacher. So, Bron Lewis also.
Yeah, the great Bron Lewis.
Who's also on the show.
Wonderful comedian. Also on this show?
Yeah, that's right.
Show? Yeah.
She's been in this chair.
She's just sitting there right now. Yeah. She's over there. Hey, Bron. Actually, I do have a so Bron Lewis, for her surprise birthday party, everyone got to dress up as Bron. So
I saw this. Yeah.
Wig. So I've got the red wig over there sitting on a giraffe over there. Not an actual giraffe. I don't want to say animal cruelty. I'm not into. But yeah,
you wouldn't put a wig on a giraffe for real, would you?
No, I wouldn't. I never would. Thank you for confirming that. But yeah, I dressed up as Bron the other day, and it was so funny to have this red wig, and I reapplied the lipstick like 3 times. I looked like a mess. After a few drinks as well, it was like, he's not well. But yeah, so now reviewing and doing it,
it feels like a privilege, which is because it's just it affords me freedom to hang out with my kids and do school pickup and whatever. Like it's great. I love doing it, even if it's like I don't love this, but it's like but I would be at a real job.
Yeah, so sure. Yeah. This is the alternative, and it's pretty good. Yeah,
exactly. So no complaints.
No complaints.
And anyone can do it. Not anyone.
I don't think Diggs can do it, to be honest. He'd try his best. He keeps telling me he wants to do an episode about schmackos, and I'm like, really? Great, Diggs. What's the report? And he's like, oh, they're so young. I'm like, it has to be kind of a crime-related one. Like, yeah, right.
Are there any crimes in those weird plasticine commercials?
Yeah. I got to look into it.
Yeah.
He, when you
that would be funny if you put him in this chair.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. A true crime. But yeah, it was really funny when you walked in before, because you've seen Diggs so many times, but it is so funny when people walk in and go, he is so big.
Yeah.
I had so Diggs came. Bron Lewis and I have another podcast called You Two Drunk Aunties.
Oh yeah, I know.
We did that live on Sunday. And Diggs came as a special guest. It was so much fun.
Yes.
Obviously, I can't take Diggs in the Uber bed. So that was the thing. It's like they don't allow him in there. He's too big. So I had to get an air tasker, and I got him. I got him into. It took a long time to really organise this to get Diggs in.
Not worth it, would you say?
It was. No, I'm not saying that. I keep winking at you. But it was great. Loved it. Diggs was just roaming around the bar at some point, and there was a random guy, which I always find so interesting when a random person rocks up to a podcast and goes, "What's this all about?" And he came in, he saw the sign up outside, and he went, "I'm going to come and watch this random podcast
Comedy
I've never
Republic?
heard of, Comedy Republic."
Yeah.
And he rocked up, never heard the podcast before. And I was like, weird, because there's a lot of in-jokes. The people who are there, we call them chooks. They're excited because they know the segments. They're going to be really excited about it. So I go, oh, sorry, just so you know, there's a big dog wandering around. He goes, I'm fine with big dogs. And then Diggs walked around the corner with a big smile on his face, and he went, whoa, that is a big dog. And I always find it really funny to tell people he's a big dog. And then when people meet him,
you go,
I wasn't thinking that big. So I don't know how big you thought it was going to be. I don't know. I can't read your mind about how big my dog's going to be.
I mean, also, like, I've met him.
You've met him so many times.
But it's still this, like, he's my height.
Yeah. He's pretty much your height. It's so funny. But yeah, so the Weekly Planet, you can find it. It's on YouTube.
Check it out.
Go and check it out, for God's sake. It's free. Go and check it out, and don't complain about it.
It's a community service.
It's a community service, and don't complain about it. Are you ready for this week's episode, James?
Always.
Now, James, have you ever heard of Eric Edgar Cooke?
No, I haven't.
No, you haven't.
I mean, just from earlier. But
I haven't. No, you haven't. I first heard of Eric Edgar Cooke myself when I read The Sharknet, which is often referred to as the Great Australian Novel.
Really?
I don't really know what that means when they say the Great Australian Novel. It sounds like the American Dream or something like. I imagine it's a book with a white picket fence. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, not to say that I know all books, but I've never heard of that book.
Yeah, I've read half of every book. The Sharknet is a memoir by Robert Drew, who is described by himself as Australia's most celebrated author.
I mean, you got to champion.
You've got to champion yourself.
You've got to be your own best friend.
You've got to be your own best friend and your own biggest cheerleader. Robert moved to Perth at the age of 6 from Melbourne. This is a quick biography of his book. It's about 400 pages. I won't bore you with it.
No, you're not just going to read.
I'm going to read the whole book. It's now a book club podcast. Age 6, Robert Drew moved with his family from Melbourne to Perth, the world's most isolated city, and proud of it. I love that. Yeah. I love that, because it's the most isolated from every other city.
I guess,
so.
Sense.
In the world. How wild is that? But also, like, I just love it that he says, "I'm proud of it."
And proud of
proud of what?
Yeah, what? You were 6. You didn't do that.
Like you didn't isolate everyone.
Yeah.
Then a man he knew murdered a boy he also knew. The murderer randomly killed 8 strangers, variously shooting, strangling, stabbing, bludgeoning, and hacking his victims and running them down with cars.
That's like normally they have like one thing.
Yeah. Well, this is why he was a criminal unlike any other, because he didn't have an MO.
Yeah.
Which a lot of killers do. They stick with what they know.
He was just doing Grand Theft Auto.
Exactly. It was like the video game, but in the world's most isolated city, and proud of it. And innocent Perth was changed forever. Now, I Googled the Sharknet, simply the story of Sharknet, and the first suggestion was, what was Shark Tale about?
It's a good question.
Which I thought might be in your...
I was going to say, let me handle this.
Yeah.
Will Smith is a fish.
Yep.
And he's trying to come up in the world. But he's just he can't catch a break. Also, Martin Scorsese is in it, and there's other fish. Yeah, yeah. And
what does he play?
A mob fish, maybe.
Yeah,
it came out around Mob Fish came out at the same time as like Finding Nemo.
Oh,
Angelina Jolie's in it.
Did I find him, by the way?
No.
Okay, spoiler.
He was dead. He died.
No, he died the whole time.
Yeah, man.
He was dead the whole time. He died the whole time.
He was dying the whole time. And yeah, that's basically all. It was a competing fish movie. You know how that used to happen. Ants, Bugs Life.
Yep.
It's not fondly remembered because it's got the DreamWorks smile.
Oh, of course it does. Yeah. I knew you were a massive Shark Tale head. I knew that about you. Just as a side note, before we get in, Tim Winton also mentions Eric Edgar Cooke in his book Cloud Street. Have you read Cloud Street?
I have read Cloud Street because I was a boy in the 90s.
You were a boy in the 90s and you simply had to.
Yeah.
Part of your life.
Yeah, and more likely curricularly.
God, you were a teacher, let's just say that.
Yeah.
Tim Winton is one of Australia's most celebrated authors. Mm-hmm. I've said that because I think he is.
I agree.
And a man who is absolutely obsessed with the ocean.
Yes.
Back in the good old days of Twitter, I used to follow an account that was a spoof of Tim Winton.
This is my favourite.
Have you? Oh, you know about this one?
I love this account.
The handle was Tim Winto.
Yep.
And it was just a parody of his personality and his writing style. Tweets like this: dunes are the waves of the earth. Waves are the waves of the sea. Clouds are the waves of the air. Can't concentrate enough to remember what rocks or food are. Nobody is manning the Gloria jeans at the airport, and I am blind with rage about it. I am furious. And another tweet: saw a family burying their son up to the neck in sand this morning. Dishing out some traditional beach justice. I took pity on the young fella and gave him a bite of my spring roll when they weren't looking. If the community realise what I've done, they'll decapitate me. I just found, so you know this account.
I love it. It's so funny because you have to know
a lot about Tim Winton to like it.
But it's so niche.
It's niche.
This is for nobody.
No. It's got like 8,000 followers.
Yeah, like this account, I just love it's for the love of the game.
Yeah,
it's not somebody trying to get a viral tweet and turn it into shit. My dad says the TV show, which was a real thing. It's just like I love Tim Winton, and I think I can do something with this.
Well, because it's so funny because Tim Winton obviously is very obsessed by community, very obsessed by the beach. And it is just so funny how much he just goes into Tim Winton so much. And like a reference to Gloria Jeans, like the coffee chain.
Amazing.
It's so funny. But yeah, so I just love that is a big part of our culture. Tim Winton.
Yes. I want to find my favourite tweet from that before the end of the show.
Oh, great.
If you don't mind.
Oh, please. I'd love that. Okay, so before we get into the story today, I will also say that January 26th is referred to in this story as Australia Day, which I've not altered throughout because that's what the shootings were referred to as the time. So more of a name than what I'm referring to them as.
Fantastic.
So Eric Edgar Cooke was born on the 25th of February 1931.
Good as any.
Good as any date. You won't find a better date. His mother, Christine, was so in love with him, but his father, Vivian, hated his son from the moment he was born. You don't get a lot of Vivians as men, do you?
It's like how John Wayne's real name was Shirley.
Oh, yeah.
There was a thing where I don't know what names were.
Yeah, no, I don't know what names are right now.
Yeah, and then they'd be called a different name anyway.
Yeah, it's so weird. Yeah. The only reason Vivian and Christine married was because she was pregnant with Eric. This was one of the reasons Vivian resented Eric, but also because Eric was born with a cleft palate and cleft lip.
Damn.
His father saw him as deformed, and although he had several surgeries, it was never fully rectified. A cleft palate, if you don't know, is referred to as a birth defect where the roof of the mouth or palate doesn't fully clothes, if you want it, leaving an opening or cleft between the mouth and nasal passages. This can affect the soft palate, hard palate, or both. Cleft palates can occur alone or alongside a cleft lip. And there is a brilliant pioneer of Australian comedy, Wendy Harmer, who was famously born with a cleft palate. And just to add a nice story in here somewhere, used to hate the way she looked, but her dad used to force her to get up and do public speaking so she would feel comfortable in front of others. She hated him for it at the time, but after a long time, learnt to love it, which I thought was a nice little story in here.
That's lovely.
There's not many other lovely stories in here. Vivian, Eric's father, was also an abusive alcoholic and took his anger out on Eric in his early years, his 2 daughters and his wife, Christine. Seeking refuge, Christine would often sleep in the staff room of her work to avoid being beaten by her husband. Eric would often get beaten when trying to protect his mother from the attacks. Eric was also placed in orphanages or foster homes on occasion. Much like his mother, he would hide underneath the house or roam neighbouring streets just to escape a night of his father's violence. He was frequently hospitalised for head injuries and had suspected brain damage because of his accident proneness.
It doesn't sound like he's accident prone. It sounds like his dad is hitting him around the head.
Yeah. A big thing to say accident prone as well. Like, I don't think that's actually
this
correct.
Kid's always in here.
So, yeah. It's like, I think there might be something else going on at home there.
I mean, that having your skull rattled like that is not good. I mean, I'd imagine this is going to contribute to whatever's going to happen.
Absolutely, yeah. Later it was questioned whether these accidents were due to repressed suicidal tendencies. Cooke also had recurring headaches and was once admitted to an asylum. He reported blackouts, which later stopped after an operation in 1949.
That's not going to be a good one either,
That's not going to be a good one. And also an asylum as well.
Yeah.
Like just saying the word asylum. Like, obviously we don't call them asylums anymore.
No.
Like, an asylum was such a thing that you can't... Like, I always think of Batman, to be honest.
Exactly.
Ark Asylum. I guess that's a reference for you. I know that that is quite a lot of horrendous information right there. He had an awful and traumatic childhood, which I'm not adding here as an excuse, but more of a psychological understanding of Eric's violence and the hatred he harnessed towards mostly women.
Right.
There are different reports whether Eric was a good student.
Why did he hate women, though?
Well, he hated women. He ended up hating his mother, which I don't really understand why he had this resentment. I think because he felt like an outsider more. He had the cleft palate and I just think that he thought people thought of him differently. It doesn't really make sense that he hated women, to me anyway, as a non-psychologist, and I will say that over and over during the podcast, that he ended up hating women so much when it was his father that inflicted all of this abuse on him as a child. But I feel like he just felt like an outsider, I think was the takeaway that I found anyway. There are differing reports whether Eric was a good student. I think the common understanding was that he was fairly good at school, but not exceptional. He was bullied quite a lot because of his cleft palate, and he was expelled from Subiaco State School for stealing money from a teacher's purse at the age of just 6.
Whoa.
Were you a good student?
No.
Did you
middle
just steal
of the
from
road. Your
teacher's purse? Yeah.
I'm the most middle of the road grey man student you'll ever see.
Right. Grey man student?
Grey. Well, that means you just kind of you just stay in the middle of the pack.
Oh, right. I thought you meant you were grey.
I was grey very early, but also that. Yeah. It's like, what's the least I can do to be left alone?
Great. Just leave me alone, for God's sake.
Yeah.
He ended up attending Newcastle Street Infant School after his expulsion, and he was again the target of bullying. He continued to be bullied at every school he attended, including Highgate Primary School, Forest Street Primary School, and Newcastle Street Junior Technical School. As a result of the surgeries, Eric had a large scar on his face and often mumbled when speaking. He kept his head down to hide his face in public. The bullying continued throughout his schooling years, and he was ostracised by other students. If he ever did get invited to play on very rare occasions, those moments would be the highlight of his childhood. Same. Anytime I got invited to anything.
Were you a good student?
I was okay.
Yeah.
I was more of an annoying class clown that like didn't focus too much on my studies.
I can see that.
As much. Like, I can see the annoying behaviours. He was always in trouble at school and was frequently caned at school as punishment. He wasn't really a bad student, just would act out at different times.
Yeah.
At this time, the earliest you could leave school was 14. Isn't that nuts? You could leave at 14.
Yeah.
So in 1945, as soon as he was 14, he left. He got a job as a delivery boy. Now, it's not something I'm not 100% clear about here is Vivian, for some reason, and I think just because he was an awful, awful person, did not share his wage with his wife, Christine, and the kids.
Okay, right, yeah.
I don't know why. I just think he was an awful person.
Yeah.
She
was a teacher? Is that what you said, staff room?
She worked at, I think, David Jones or something like that. She worked somewhere, but I
don't know why I think teacher staff.
Yeah, I didn't mention pigeonhole. She also had to work in factories. Oh, sorry, that was the next sentence. I could have looked ahead one sentence. She also had to work in factories while raising 3 children. Eric gave up most of his money to his mum that he made as a delivery boy to help her. Eric began supplementing his income by committing petty thefts. Good way to do it.
Why not?
It's good work if you can get it. Taking from
you can, by the way. Anyone can do
absolutely. You can get it. Taking from his work or the places he delivered to, anywhere that wouldn't be noticed. So he'd sometimes steal from wealthier people and just take $10, $20 or something, hoping that no one would notice that money gone. He joined the Surf Lifesaving Club, which he loved. Surf Lifesaving in Australia, and I am sure they have very similar things all around the world, is a community dedicated to just that. They keep a lookout on the beach, put out flags to mark the safest areas, and monitor for people who might need assistance.
It's Baywatch.
It's basically very sexy Baywatch. Always very sexy.
Much sexier than regular Baywatch?
I think so. Even sexier than Baywatch. You can quote me on that. Every day in Australia, lifesavers rescue around 30 people. And they conduct every day 451 preventative actions every hour.
Wow.
Isn't that nuts? And in a very sexy way, I have to say.
I didn't think they were working that hard, honestly.
Yeah, you were thinking they're just sitting on that really tall stool. Yeah. I always wonder why that stool is so tall, that chair. Because
it's so you can
see out, but also you don't have to be that high, sure. Are they the same as tennis chairs?
Yeah, they've taken it too far.
Yeah, they've taken it too far. I think it's way too tall. It's like stilts.
I think it could be taller.
So tall? Yeah, you think it could be taller?
Yeah.
Wow,
we're unmanageably high.
Oh God, this is a segment where we butt heads. Eric made a mistake where he stole a watch from someone and got it engraved to look like it was a medal from the Surf Lifesaving Club. I just don't think a watch could ever look like a medal.
What are we doing?
What are you doing? He'd be showing it off to everyone, and then someone said that they knew the person who he stole it from. He was shamed for taking the watch and had to give it back. Eric had a lot of health problems ongoing through his young life. He was incredibly clumsy, as we said before, accident prone. Don't think that's true. And would constantly get into work incidents. At this point, he was also suffering blackouts, so had to leave the Surf Lifesaving Club. Too high up on the stool.
Yeah.
He was on workers' compensation for a lot of the time he worked as a delivery driver. He also got different jobs working as a labourer in different trades. At the age of 16, he tried to protect his mum from his dad from an altercation and fell, hitting his head on a light switch and fracturing his skull. He didn't want to tell people about it or admit that his father was abusive, so told anyone that asked that he got into a fight.
Well, he did.
He actually did.
Yeah.
You actually hit a light switch because your dad hit you.
Yeah.
On September 24, which do you know why that's a very important date?
No.
It's my birthday.
Is it?
Yep.
Is it really?
Yep.
I just know somebody whose birthday that is. I won't say
Fran
it here.
Drescher?
Correct.
It is actually.
You a fan?
I'm a massive Nanny head from way back. I know you're a big Shark Tale guy.
Yeah.
I'm a Nanny fan. And that's one thing you got to know about me, James. I know we've known each other for a long time. That's one thing you got to know about me. I'm a massive Nanny fan.
I did hear you talk about it the other week because Mr. Sheffield, of course, has a love of the opera because his rival is Andrew Lloyd Webber. Yeah.
Rival,
Yeah.
arch nemesis, Webber.
So-
That's what he says. Eric joined the army in 1948. He needed a fresh start and a new routine. He absolutely loved it. The structure and camaraderie. Eric was described as an adult as a short, slight man with dark, wavy hair and a twisted mouth. You can actually say the same about me.
All right.
In the army, he also found out that he was a very good shot. He was told that because
Wonder if that'll come up later.
Oh, yeah, not at all. Actually, that's the end of that. That's the end of the story. He was told that because of his speech impediment, it would be unlikely that he would ever rise through the ranks, but it didn't stop his passion. He was determined to progress. I would love, though, if you're going, you like a bit of banter, but you don't like the crimes. I go, and for everyone that doesn't like the crimes, that is the end of the story. He went on to live a great life. A month, he cured polio.
Did he?
Yep. A month after joining the army, he committed his first serious break-in. He would lurk around the streets at night and look into people's windows. He would look in, he would watch people get changed and move around the house. That was his nightly activity. It was later stated that he dreamed of having a better life and liked looking into people's houses to see how the other half lived. I see you sometimes peering inside my window.
Yeah, that's okay though, yeah?
That's fine, man. It's fine. It's cool, actually, because I'm just always watching the nanny. Less can be said for the seediness of the act. So it's quite creepy to be peering into someone's house. He would... I don't know if anyone's going to disagree with me. Yeah. Call in, we'll wait. He would later state that he would stay out very late to avoid going back home and take things from people's houses, people who are far better off than him, to regain some kind of control in his own life. Again, not a psychologist, but that just makes sense.
Yeah. It all adds up.
It all adds up. He stole a torch and a clock from a house in Perth and probably claimed the clock as a medal from Surf Lifesaving, and took all the clothes out from the wardrobe and poured a bottle of wine all over them to ruin the clothes.
Unnecessary.
And I'll be honest, blatantly rude. The house was fingerprinted shortly after, but the prints didn't match anyone on record. And this is the thing when they print people, it's like, if this is the first time this person's committed a crime, they're just not going to be in the system.
Absolutely.
He then broke, I think they should fingerprint babies at birth.
I agree.
And I'm trying to bring that in, James, and don't fight me on this.
I would never fight you on that. I agree. I think you should get them in the womb.
How insane would that be? Just a police officer at every hospital, just going, oh, beautiful. And there's an officer just to the side, fingerprinting the baby with a scowl, always a scowl.
How did they used to match up fingerprints? Because it was you're just eyeballing fingerprints in the 40s and 50s.
I had a locksmith at my old place that told me that he could eye any key.
He can eye any key?
He goes, I can tell.
Yeah, I can look at any key.
I can That's basically what he said. But he said that he could make a key from scratch from looking at a lock.
Wow.
I don't think that's true. It's very hard to see into a lock. He didn't do it. He couldn't prove it.
He had a girlfriend in Canada too.
That's right. Yeah. She's a supermodel, actually. All the magazines, so I got these photos of her. He then broke into a second home shortly after. He didn't find anything to take, but he did pull all the clothes out of the wardrobe again and slash them with a knife. He then started a fire and watched it burn for a short time before leaving.
He's just trying stuff out. This is like Jazz But Crimes.
It's like Jazz But Crimes. That's right. That's what the new name of the podcast is now, Jazz But Crimes. The house was saved before burning it down, but there was a fair bit of damage. 2 weeks later, he struck again, taking an engagement ring, 20 shillings, and a fountain pen.
Oh, this is Shillings era.
Era. He was spotted by a woman in a neighbouring flat, so he threw the valuables into a river to avoid detection. Going back to the shilling, Australia's decimal currency came into place on the 14th of February, 1966.
Your birthday.
My birthday, thank you for saying that. The shilling became the equivalent of 10 cents in the new Australian dollar system. Prior to the decimal system, currency was in the form of pounds, shillings and pence. £1 was equal to 20 shillings, 1 shilling was equal to 12 pence, and so £1 was equal to 240 pence. Confusing as. I don't think anyone was paying attention then. That was the moment when everyone can just zone out for a bit. I give everyone a break.
That's what everybody used to do at back in the day. What's this? I don't know. Here's just a handful of different coins.
Here's coins. Yeah. You want more coins? Do you need more coins or less coins? So that's how I work stuff out to this day. Do you need more coins or less coins? Eric continued to break into houses, always taking valuables from each place and setting a few more fires. So this is where we'd really go into it. It is so interesting that he was setting fires, breaking into people's houses, lurking.
He's got an MO at this point.
He's got an MO, yeah. He was once again injured at work and went on workers' compensation.
Does it say how specifically? He hit his head, I assume.
I'm assuming he hit his head on a light switch.
Damn.
Those pesky light switches.
They're everywhere.
He decided to go and stay with his grandmother in North Perth. I didn't start crying then. It did sound like I started crying.
You got a bit emotional.
I got a bit emotional. Because I don't have any.
No, me
neither.
neither.
Into it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, James.
No, I don't mind.
We'll talk about this.
Good.
It's good. It's good. He began doing even more breaking in. So he's avoiding his dad again at this time and goes to live with his grandmother.
How old is he at this point? Like late teens, early 20s?
Yeah, around 17 years old.
Okay,
yeah. He began doing even more breaking and entering. He would prowl around, see who was home, and then break in.
So they had to be home for him to break in?
No. So he was
Sorry.
He would see who wasn't home, basically.
Okay.
Or sometimes he would actually just go in and watch people sleep.
Sweet.
Yeah. Sweet.
Wait, no.
No, not sweet. Redacted.
Don't like it. Take that out.
Don't like it. Take that out.
I do like it.
Edit
Take
it
this out
here.
too.
One time, his fingerprints were found again, and this time police decided to hold on to them. Not his fingerprints. Hold on to his fingers. Hey, boys, don't let these fingers go, boys.
I love how they're like, this is evidence. Let's keep it this time.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing I'll say again. If they did this as babies, we wouldn't have this goddamn problem.
I'm with you.
Thank you. Hold on. Shark Tank, you listening? Is that the Australian version of what's the dungeon? The Dragon's Den?
Oh, Dragon's Den, yeah.
Where people go in and tell. Imagine me going, hold his fingers, boys. Stop. You won't need to do that anymore with my invention. It's like they don't do that anymore.
My invention, having a police officer fingerprint babies. I need $40,000.
I need $40,000. Why? Not sure.
I don't know.
I feel like
it'd be great.
James hit him and I just make you dance off. I want to do a full presentation. Dance. Police decided to hold on to them because they started seeing a pattern emerging with him as a lurker.
Because he'd done it like 12
times. Eric turned 18, and to celebrate, I'm sure you did the same, he set a flat on fire by taking dresses from a wardrobe and setting them alight.
All right.
He also, for some reason, took a shit in the child's cot.
Unnecessary.
In the house. Unnecessary. And blatantly rude, I'll say it again.
I don't like this jazz crime.
I
thought he had a thing and now he's doing a different thing.
He's doing a different thing. It's so weird. And he only seemed to shit in the cot once. So it really did feel like he was trying out different things.
Yeah.
Like the wine bottle, the cutting of clothes, that's pretty similar. The lighting the house. But taking a shit in a cot?
Just be like,
no reason.
No, not for me.
Not for me. You know what? I felt disgusted by that. I don't think I'll do that again. This was the last and only time I could find something in this research, but as I'll talk about later, Eric was quite hard to catch because he didn't have a set MO. The shit in the cot is a good example of this. I'm well written and well researched. When I read that, I was like, I guess it is not another crime podcast.
Is this
what else you're saying?
Is that what it says in the Sharknet? The shit in the cot. That was a real outlier.
That's a real Tim Winton quote. It seemed to throw police off. Many of these crimes could not be linked, which we'll go into. A few weeks. It's like when I sometimes say perhaps for no reason, just to annoy someone who's really go, oh, perhaps. And they go, and it's too little for them to get frustrated by.
Yeah, should I stop?
That's fine. I'm not going to pull him up on it. That's my life. Just doing things that are just frustrating enough, but not too frustrating to pull you up on.
Later, you're like,
Georgia would pull me up on it though.
She
Absolutely.
would. She'd text you later.
She'd text me
if
later.
She didn't.
Oh yeah, she'd go home and text me. Dear, to whom it may concern. A few weeks after setting the house on fire, he was caught by a neighbour when breaking into someone's house. The man confronted Eric and said that he lived next door. So Eric explained, I live next door. I've drunkenly got the wrong house.
Yeah.
The man said he knew he didn't live there either, and he punched him in the face.
Hell yeah.
What a guy. I feel like that's just Perth. If you don't know Perth, that's Perth. Basically.
That's wrong.
Someone punch you in the face. Yeah. Again, this wouldn't be happening with Fingerprinting Babies. Eric ran off and the man called the police. Georgia is going to send me a text and just go, why did you talk for so long about fingerprinting babies? But she might also be in.
She might love it.
She might be a Shark Den person or whatever that show is. He was then tracked down and interviewed at his. I know that sharks don't live in dens. He was then tracked down and interviewed at his grandmother's house, and his fingerprints were taken.
Oh, got him.
They were a match to the other break-ins, James, and he admitted right away that he did them. He said that he was short of money and needed to find another income. Stealing.
Why are you setting stuff on fire then?
Yeah, why is it? Hey,
what's the financial benefit?
Riddle me this. Why are you setting stuff on fire for them?
Riddle me this, Mr. Business.
Yeah, hold his fingers, boys. We got him. Just handcuffs for fingers, just tiny little handcuffs. 2 months later, he appeared before a judge. He was convicted of 2 counts of stealing, 7 charges of breaking and entering, and 4 counts of larceny.
Oh.
He was sentenced to 3 years, but released just after 3 months. This sort of stuff, it's so wild to me that you can behave well in prison and you can get let out early. It's like you should be convicted of the crime and actually stay your full sentence.
Well, I mean, what can you really get up to in prison?
That is so bad.
Just do nothing for 3 months.
Yeah,
and
just
then,
sit there.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. The prison psychiatrist, again, I'm not as qualified as them, I will state.
I'm going to say that you are because it was
Thank
the 50s and nobody knew anything.
I know. Yeah. And head of the prison thought that all Eric needed was a little bit of a scare and he would not go beyond this. And hopefully this would deter him from a life of crime.
Egg on your face.
Egg on your face. You You dickwad. That's what I'll say. I don't know. Something like that. As a condition of his parole, Eric needed to attend regular sessions with a psychiatrist, and he was dismissed from the army because he can't have a criminal record in the army. This was a pretty major blow for Eric. He ended up getting a new job and wasn't giving as much money to his mother at the time, so could have a little more to spend for himself. He started attending a Methodist church.
Okay.
They overlooked his shortcomings and his past, and this was a social network that he always craved. It made him feel like less of an outcast. For these non-religious folk, and why are you listening? Come on. Go to church.
Get with it.
Go to church and get with it. For these non-religious folk out there, a short definition of the Methodist Church: it's a Protestant Christian tradition that emerged from the 18th century Anglican movement led by John Wesley. It's characterized by focus on evangelism, personal holiness, and social action. Methodists have their own distinct beliefs, practices, and church structures, with the World Methodist Council representing a global network of Methodist churches. This is all to say that there are many branches of Christianity that have the same core beliefs, but usually focus and hone in on slightly different teachings. I always find that so confusing, that there are so many branches of Christianity.
I agree.
And they focus on a slightly different thing.
Yeah.
It's like we believe in holiness, and it's like...
But not
we
that
also
type of, not the thing that you said, a slightly different version.
Slightly different version of that. It's like wild.
Was this the sponsored segment?
Yeah, that's the Methodist Church. Do yourself a favour. Do yourself, if you're not an idiot, sign up. If you use the code Not Another Crime Podcast, you don't have to give as much to the collection plate.
Yep.
If that's what you want.
I had to go to church the other day. Sorry.
You had to.
It was for a baptism. And I was
You were baptised?
Godfather.
Congratulations.
Thank you. You're welcome. Third time Godfather. Not a big deal. Whatever.
Not a big deal for a guy.
But they handed around the collection plate, and anybody who hadn't been there religiously,
Yeah, thank you.
which was most of them, was just like, we don't have any money.
Wild. No one's got cash.
I mean, look, I wouldn't anyway, but I got there and they were
Yeah.
like, you've got jobs. They're like, you're bringing this up, you're doing this reading, you're holding this baby. I'm like, whoa.
This is a lot. You should be
Hang
paying me
on.
for this.
Yeah.
I got my parents' fee. That's wild. You'd think they'd hand around like one of those square things.
Exactly.
To
Just tap, man.
Just tap, man. I'd be tap dancing if they said that. Eric was well on his way to probation, getting a glowing review by the time he completed this period by the age of 21.
And you can actually review this podcast in app.
You can,
Similarly.
in app, leave a 5-star rating, 5-star review, nothing else. Don't accept it.
Yep.
He decided at this point for a fresh start to move to Melbourne. He looked up the local Methodist church there and also signed up for the army in Melbourne. He got away, the discount code is only for Perth, I will say that for the Methodist Church. He got away with it for 14 weeks before his criminal past caught up with him, and he was once again dismissed from the army.
They got him.
They get him. He headed back to Perth just before he turned 22, and shortly after was arrested for stealing from a money box from the Methodist Church. He was placed on a good behaviour bond and sent on his way. Then Eric got a job as a truck driver for a market, where he met a lady by the name of Sarah, also known as Sally Levine. I love it when people just change their name completely.
Incredible.
Sarah, or otherwise known as Sally. Okay.
Both my grandfathers dead. One was
I'm so
named
sorry to hear
James. People called him Frank. One was named John. People called him Jack.
We do that so much in Australia. I was like, I was today years old. That's something fun to say. I found out that my nan, who I always called her, she's passed away as well.
Her name wasn't really Nan.
Yeah, her name wasn't really Nan. She had a proper name.
It was the nanny.
The nanny named Fran. No, her name was Jean. I always called her Jean, and then I found out
It was
her name was
Jean's.
Margaret.
Sorry.
At the funeral.
Yeah. Oh, wow. At the funeral.
Yeah, it wasn't until the funeral. I was like, which was this morning. Didn't go. Had the podcast. Too busy. Sally was 17 years old from Liverpool, and that's why I was today years old, and quite taken with Eric. It wasn't something he was used to. He wasn't used to being a bit of a charmer and a player.
Yeah. I mean, he got her straight off the plane, I'd imagine. So she's like, ooh, Australian accent.
Australia's so beautiful. Yeah. Do you want to sign up for the Methodist Church? I got a discount code.
Do I? Yeah.
Yeah, she found him really charming and thought he presented himself really well.
Okay.
They got married in November of 1953, and in 1954, they had their first child together named Michael. They went on to have 7 children together.
Too many.
Different reports, like there's some people that say 8, some people that say 7. I'm not sure exactly. But
Okay, so one of those ones where like some of the paperwork didn't go through.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The cop took a snooze. He's fingerprinting all the babies. They had a second son a year later. Eric would go out on the town at this time quite a lot, not wearing his wedding ring, devil, and charm the ladies at the 10-pin bowling club.
Wow, okay.
Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
We're doing it tonight, bro.
I'm like, watch this, and I put the ball on the kids' ramp.
What's up? What's up?
Never miss.
Never miss. Which was his favourite place to go. He would dress up really nice and was said to have been a real charmer.
Okay.
He would steal cars to follow girls home to remain untraceable. One night he was at a hockey game and followed a girl home from there. He mistakenly crashed the car on the way home and police found that the car had been stolen. In September 1955, he was jailed for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
With an additional 6 months for breaking his good behaviour bond. He was released in December 1957, a little earlier, of course.
I was going to say, he nearly did the full 2 years.
Nearly did the full years, a little earlier than originally anticipated, due again to his good behaviour. Police didn't think of him as a real danger. He was stealing things, but the crimes hadn't escalated. So they labelled him as, this is so interesting as a thing, a tea and sugar thief.
Okay.
Nothing too big for them to worry about.
Yeah.
Sugar's quite small.
Sure, yeah. You grind it up.
They saw him, that's actually true. They saw him as a small-time criminal. Police even liked him every time they met him and called him Cookie, which was a nickname to anyone who liked him, which I think is just so interesting as well. Them calling him Cookie is such a interesting way for, like, that's how small the town, like how small Perth was at the time.
Yeah.
You'd actually have this recurring person and go, "G'day, Cookie."
Yeah, what are you up to?
What are you up to, Cookie?
Doing any small crimes?
Doing any small crimes? Yeah, gotcha. You're booked. In September 1958, less than a year after being released from prison, things escalated and he would soon commit his first murder at Breck 1.
I'm going to stop you there. I think this is bad.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
All right, I'll redact it.
No, you can go. You can keep going. I'm saying, sorry, you weren't stopping
bad.
No, I think he shouldn't do that.
I think he shouldn't do that.
I mean, he has though, hasn't he?
He has. Okay.
Sorry
about that.
That's all right.
Eric had an intense anger inside of him. He wanted to exact his revenge on society. He started getting these urges which overcame him. He later described them as a god-like feeling that he could not ignore or control. Now, look, I'm not a religious person. I know you've been recently baptized. I'm not a religious person. So that kind of excuse for why you go on to kill people, it just doesn't, it feels so strange to be able to say a voice and a feeling came over me that was me acting as God. I think you'd be acting as the devil if you're murdering someone. I haven't read a lot of the scripture.
Yeah.
No, I've never said I have. I don't know why I changed to Jiminy Glick then. I haven't read a lot of the scripture. Each night he went out on the town flirting with ladies and then he would prowl around the neighbourhood. He would watch women get changed. If someone had a window open, he would watch couples in their most intimate moments, kissing. He would then break in while people were not at home or watch them sleeping. Never taking anything too big, but mostly looking for cash while rifling through purses. Sometimes he would even leave a bit of money behind so it didn't look like anything had been taken.
Oh, I thought you meant like of his own money. He's
He leaves some back.
I'll take this many coins and I'll give you this many coins.
Is that more than I stole? Or maybe more of a psychological test to mess with people's minds. So I think it probably was a bit of that. Again, not a psychologist, but when he, when people I think take something small so that it's noticeable, I always think that's such a psychological thing to fuck with people.
Absolutely. Because like they could do anything. Why did they do this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
On September 12 days before my birthday, Eric spotted a car with keys in the ignition outside of a house. He had followed this woman one time before and stole the car. When stealing the car, he would roll it out of the driveway and then turn it on so it wouldn't wake the people up inside. He would also kind of dismantle the interior light so it wouldn't turn on and he wouldn't be spotted. That was such a thing that is in Australia's most celebrated author, Robert Drew's book.
Yes.
He does talk, as you know him,
Yeah.
he does talk about Perth being such a place that people left their keys in the ignition, doors always open, and this crime, he believed, changed the way Perth. And there's David and Catherine Burney. There was a few crimes that really changed the way the Claremont killer. There was a few crimes, and this was one of the first ones that really
changed the world
Perth,
in a way. Because
way.
from Perth, it then obviously everyone's like most cars.
That's right. He always wore white gloves too, so he couldn't be fingerprinted again.
Oh, okay.
And that's the thing as well. We'll have to make sure that babies aren't doing that.
Yep.
Because they have to be fingerprinted. He also wore women's white gloves, and they were a bit too small, and it was definitely noticed by people later on.
Oh, they're like this tiny hand.
This tiny hand guy.
Yeah.
These were set to be quite... Why do I always say stuff like that, and then I read ahead and realise I am agreeing with myself. Things were set to be quite ill-fitting. They were quite ill-fitting women's gloves, but he wore them to avoid detection. He saw a woman by the name of Nell Schneider riding her bike, and he pulled over. He then raced at her and knocked her completely off her bike until she went flying off and fell on her head.
In the car?
So he was in the car.
Jesus.
So he just ran into her. The bicycle was still attached to his car as he drove away, and he abandoned the car before heading home. She was found 45 minutes later. Nell was a Dutch immigrant who had recently moved to Perth with her husband and 2 kids in search of a better life. She had been riding home from choir practice. The police and ambulance arrived. They found Nell's bike and they noticed an imprint of the vehicle and blue paint from the vehicle. They found the car shortly after, but sadly the case went cold because the car had been stolen. I don't know if we can fingerprint cars.
No, we don't know about that yet.
Don't know about that yet.
Hopefully the Shark Tank boys don't throw that. Can you fingerprint cars?
Curveball. James Dan. Nell was in a coma for 2 weeks after the attack before recovering at home. While she did recover, she suffered from chronic temporal lobe epilepsy, which caused severe attacks and blackouts for the rest of her life.
Ugh.
That's the thing that we go into. He murdered a lot of people, but he left lasting damage on even more.
Yeah.
The temporal epilepsy, the knocks to the head when he hit people with his car, it really ruined a lot of people's lives.
So he did this a lot.
He did this a lot. A few months later, I won't go into every single case because there are so many where he was terrorising and cases that you don't know if he was linked to or not.
Yeah.
A few months later, Eric attacked a teenage girl by the name of Molly McLeod. Eric had broken into her house and was rummaging around. Molly was asleep. Eric went outside to relieve himself, and when he came back...
No cot, I guess.
No cot, I guess. When he came back, he pushed the door too hard, and Molly woke up. He hit her on the head and left. Molly had a bloodied, fractured skull the next morning, but didn't remember anything from the previous night. She didn't find out until years later what had actually happened that night when Eric's crimes were finally reported, that it was all the same person. So this happened a lot. Like, people wouldn't realise they had actually been a victim of Eric Edgar Cooke, until years and years later when all of this research finally came out. Until the book came out.
Yeah.
Thank you for Australia's most celebrated author. In December we had to celebrate him. We'll have a minute of silence. In December 1958, Eric struck again. On the 27th of December, he stole another car and noticed a woman walking alone. Kathy Ballas was making her way home from her job as a waitress. She didn't usually walk home late, but her husband Philip came to pick her up, but it was taking too long and he thought he might have missed her, so he headed back home as the kids were at home by themselves. Kathy started walking home. It was a pretty rural suburb and there weren't many streetlights. She noticed headlights behind her. She started waving, thinking it was her husband. She moved to the side of the road to let it pass. Then she heard the engine revving. It kept revving and it was hurtling towards her. She was hit so hard that she flew 19 metres in the air. Then Eric left. Neighbours heard the cries. Some of the injuries included a broken pelvis, a broken knee, a fractured skull, and pieces of metal embedded in her face. Police originally suspected her husband, Phil, as his van had a lot of dents in it, but cleared him when they found out that the car had been abandoned. They found the car that had been abandoned, they were sure there was an unknown person, but did not connect this with the attack on Nell Schneider. Now, this was the thing at the time. It was like, they didn't connect it. They went, it's another random attack. It's another random attack. Is it a hit and run? Like, they just didn't know.
Yeah.
And I feel like, now you would think that would be solved a lot earlier. But
I mean, the idea that, like, there was some revving and...
Yeah.
and she was able to report that, and they just went, hit and run.
Yeah, hit and run.
Accident.
Another accident. Yeah, accident. A month later, on the 29th of January, 1959, Eric was prowling yet again. He'd stolen a knife this time. He was walking around, broke into a flat where he saw a woman by the name of Penny Burkeman sleeping in her bed. He checked for anything valuable before entering the bedroom. Penny was a very glamorous woman who worked at a perfume counter at David Jones.
That is glamorous.
And this is where I got confused with Eric's mum working at David Jones. She worked at a factory.
Okay. Yeah.
This is Penny Burkeman. She was recently divorced and was dating a famous radio host.
Darren Hinch, who?
Carl Sandilands. So in Perth, of course, they have these big personalities, they call them.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they're personalities over there. And because they're not known anywhere else, it's Australia's most isolated city.
Rove,
the world's most, as an example. She was dating a famous disc jockey.
Nice.
Eric walked into the bedroom and saw that she was sleeping naked. She woke up and he panicked. He grabbed a knife that he had stolen and stabbed her, but she fought back. She grabbed him and left scratch marks all down his arms.
Because you said he wasn't a big guy either.
Wasn't a big guy either, no.
Tiny hands.
Tiny hands, those white gloves. He kept stabbing her and she kept fighting back until he stabbed her in the heart.
Ugh.
He fled the apartment, leaving her in the bed and the door wide open. He dropped the knife down a drain and abandoned the car he had stolen. Her boyfriend found her the next day, but she wasn't on the bed. She had tried to crawl out of the apartment and was found by the door. Now, this was pretty big news at the time, not just because she was well-liked or dating a famous person. It was a bit of a tabloid scandal at the time. She was sleeping naked and this new boyfriend, after being divorced. The press treated
what has she been up to?
And the press just treated it as scandal, which is crazy. A full murder investigation was launched. There was all this evidence this time. Blood underneath her fingernails was found, of course, but DNA didn't exist back then. Several neighbours had reported screaming in the early hours of the morning, and one neighbour said they saw someone prowling and breaking into a house a few doors down. I don't know if the word prowling is less common now, but you don't really hear someone saying prowling.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That's such a specific thing, isn't it? Prowling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a specific walk to it.
It's a very specific walk to it. Yeah. This wasn't the first time that someone had tried to break into houses in the area. It had been happening all over the neighbourhood, but because Eric always wore his little white gloves, no one would catch him. A coronial inquest.
I love how that's all
murder.
it takes.
Oh, I know.
Just like, I don't know, I saw a guy maybe
wearing
he had gloves
white
on.
little gloves.
Yeah.
A coronial inquest into the murder had begun and then was adjourned to allow police to find new evidence. Eric thought that he was absolutely fine at the time. There was no way he would be caught. He even made up a reason for why he had the scratches, stating that their son, who was mentally disabled, and he had been playing, but their son got rowdy and scratched him. Nobody suspected Eric. Eric kept breaking and entering into people's houses like nothing happened. He was prowling, again, in a flat and stole £6 from a person by the name of Alec Duncan's home.
It's a lot, probably.
A lot, I think, probably. That's like more coins or less coins than pounds and shillings. On the 8th of August, 1959, she was sleeping at the time, and when she woke up, he hit her on the head and knocked her out. She woke up the next day and, again, had no idea what happened to her.
I mean, lucky, I guess.
I guess, yeah. To I guess just forget about the horror of what actually happened.
Yeah.
Two of her friends came to the door and told her that she was covered in blood. It was discovered that her skull was fractured and she was taken to hospital. She was at school studying to be a nurse, but the fracture had caused lifelong epilepsy and she could no longer go down that path. Her life was ruined by this man, but there were no fingerprints yet again.
Fuck. I mean, that's not very lucky at all.
No, I know. And just awful as well to be like, he's ruined another life of someone who had all this potential of being a nurse and everything, and it's just awful. In December 1959, Eric committed his second murder. I say at this point that he committed his second murder, but he had caused so much damage in this time already. He was prowling around yet again, this time in Cottesloe. Gillian Brewer was a well-known interior designer and lived in a flat next to her mother. Eric had gone to another house that he'd been to before and stole a hatchet from the garage. He had watched Gillian before. He broke into the flat, bypassing her purse, and walked straight into her room. She was sleeping naked. He raised the hatchet and brought it down hard, striking her head, her genital area, breasts, thighs, face, and across her throat. He then had a break, came back, and stabbed her again in these places with scissors. In total, he had stabbed her around 13 times with a hatchet and 5 times with the scissors, without making a single sound. Her fiancé found her the next day with a sheet pulled up below her chin and pillow over her chest, which covered the wounds. So a lot of people say that when a killer does that they're actually ashamed of what they do and they cover up the victim.
Right.
Police found the hatchet immediately. Again, there were no fingerprints or witnesses. Her mother had been sleeping next door the entire night. How awful to realise that. Unlike the 2 previous hit-and-run incidents, this time police were quick to link the murder of Penny and Gillian.
Yeah.
This was not a normal thing to occur in Perth.
It seems like the first one he did out of panic, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Very
and this one
deliberate.
Was, like he premeditated this one. Everyone knew everyone, and they kept their doors unlocked at the time. Sally, Eric's wife, was terrified when reading about the murders in the newspapers. Eric told her not to read about such disgusting things and then asked her to provide him an alibi. As he told her, don't read about that. Can you be my alibi?
Yeah.
It was a weird conversation.
This isn't real, also.
I need an alibi, definitely. When did I say that happened? Asked her to provide him an alibi as he told her they would pin it on him because he had a record at the time.
Right, okay.
So anyone with a record, they were going to pin it on him. She agreed.
Yeah.
Eric was questioned. Police were questioning any of the loiterers at the time. Prowlers.
Bunch of them. Little club.
He was caught loitering and convicted. He was questioned while in prison for his month-long sentence. Of course, Eric denied being involved and had an alibi. While he was in prison, police thought they found their man, someone by the name of Daryl Beamish. He was deaf and mute and could only communicate through sign language and writing things down. He was awaiting sentencing for molesting a 4- and 5-year-old girl.
Hate this.
You hate this. He ended up confessing to the murder of a couple of times. He was charged with the murder but then pleaded not guilty. So a forced confession.
Right.
Awful person. We're saying an awful person, but also like a forced confession for a crime that he did not commit. He said that his confessions were coerced, but the judge didn't buy it. He was sentenced to death, but later got life in prison. He was only 18 years old.
I mean, that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, it's a bit of a dark moment, James, a bit of a dark moment.
Sure.
So I'd like to add another fake Tim Winton tweet here.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Begged a crowd of bystanders at the beach to help me while I was viciously swarmed by gulls after my Baker's Delight garlic twist, but they just stood there, wet with cowardice. It's just another little fun Tim Winton.
Whoever this is an incredible writer.
They're very good.
Do you know who this is?
No, I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
The grammar is not amazing, but the writing is great.
Yeah.
Like, I love that swarm.
Grammar could use some work.
Yeah, he could use some absolute work. But I love the wet with cowardice.
Yeah.
And he is obsessed with gulls, Tim Winton, for some reason as well. I've got a couple more that I'll sprinkle throughout, but if you do want to find your favourite one at some point.
I will at some point, yeah.
This didn't seem to bother Eric that Daryl was put away for a crime that he committed.
No, I can't imagine it would.
No. He kept up his usual habits and ended up stealing a car when he saw someone he actually knew this time. A girl he had given lifts to and from work. Her name was Glenys Peake. She had been out dancing all night. She was kind of annoyed because she ran into a guy who had previously stood her up for a date.
That's how my parents met.
Yes.
No,
really?
that's true.
Oh, actually.
My mum got stood up and then met my dad.
Really?
Yeah. And
at a dance hall?
Yeah, at a dance hall. And I get it.
That's so good. I love that.
Yeah.
Got stood up and he swooped right
Just
in.
happened to be there.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
And actually, thank you for that man standing up because you had a beautiful boy before me today by the name of
killed
James
him.
Clement. Oh.
Just for fun.
Just for fun. That was just a fun thing that you did. They got into an argument and she slapped
Take
this
that
man
out,
in
actually.
the face. No, I think it's fun. They slapped the guy in the face. So she got into an argument with him. Why'd you stand me up? Slapped him in the face. On the train home, she met some friends and her spirits were lifted. She couldn't stop thinking about the guy that she slapped in the face. And at midnight, got off the train around midnight and told her friends, I said midnight twice, that's fun. She told her friends that she didn't need to be escorted home. She was safe.
Right.
Eric watched as Glenys walked home. She saw his car drive by her. She saw the car later and the driver had not gotten out, so it just kind of stopped on the side of the road. The car then turned around. She kept hearing the car time and time again. Then she saw the car hurtling towards her. She was hit and was thrown into a pile of broken glass.
Jesus.
She lay there in extreme pain and got up and walked home. She was terrified he was going to come back. So, of course you would, but the amount of pain and courage that must have taken to just get up off a pile of glass and just walk home.
Why was there a pile of...
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a guy leaving random piles of glass around.
Yeah.
It was Perth. Come on. Her parents took her straight to hospital. She was obviously not in a state to answer questions to the police at the time, but they went to the scene, found her watch on the side of the road, and tyre marks all down the road. When they interviewed Glenys a few days later, she was sure it was deliberate, but said it could have been the guy who she slapped in the face getting revenge.
Okay.
Police looked into it and his name was cleared. Police looked into the car and of course it was stolen, so hit another dead end.
Wait, so they knew it was him that she slapped?
Oh, yeah, so they found the guy who she slapped.
Oh, okay.
And they
sorry, no, that
"Oh,
wasn't
it's
the same
not
guy.
him."
Sorry,
No,
yeah. I thought
that
it
was cleared.
Okay.
And then they find the car that had hit her, and it was another stolen car that Eric had stolen. Eric, again, wasn't worried. He was in South Perth at this time and stole a car that had its keys in the ignition. What are you doing,
Come
Perth?
on, man.
He rolled out of the driveway and saw Jill Connell. She was a waitress who worked quite late nights. She'd been followed home a week earlier by a customer, and she was frightened about walking home alone. She caught the bus and was terrified that the customer would be following her again. Jill heard the roar of a car engine, but not the one she was followed by the last time. She started to get freaked out more and more, and as the car kept roaring up behind her, she got more and more terrified. The car hit her, but it got bogged in some sand. Eric got out of the car and walked away laughing. So it's quite psychotic.
Oh, shit.
At that stage, you go, oh, he's progressed, like a major way to be now just getting out of the car laughing. Sometime later, neighbours found her in a pool of blood, moaning and a bone sticking out of her leg. She was still alive. Police were called and she was taken to hospital. They checked and they found that the car was stolen. There was a man standing in his front yard at 3 a.m. They asked him why he was out there and said that it was his property and he could do whatever he damn well pleased. Police asked again and he said his daughter hadn't returned from work. They took him to the hospital to find his daughter and he could not believe what had happened. I just love that that's the first thing. Police rock up and go, what are you doing standing in the yard at 3 a.m? He goes, my yard, I can do what I want. Mind your goddamn business, if you damn well please. Jill had broken bones and needed surgery, but she would eventually be okay.
Okay.
She was questioned by police and she gave up the name Arthur, who was the man who had previously followed her, the customer.
Right.
It was a rainy evening when Eric spotted 3 girls who were walking home together. Georgia Pittman had met Therese Zagama and Maureen Rogers that night. They met on a train and decided to share an umbrella on the walk home. They thought that Eric was perhaps a taxi driver in his fancy stolen car and tried to wave him down. The car just drove past them, so they started walking. He drove off and was waiting behind them with the engine off to give them a head start. He noticed that the girls were different ages when he was watching them. Therese, the 10-year-old, called out to the other girls who he decided to target that night. Maureen was thrown onto the bonnet and Georgia was thrown into a ditch. Maureen was still on the bonnet for a few hundred metres before flying off. Eric managed to dump the car yet again and go home. Therese managed to run to her aunt's house to get help. They know
that there is a guy doing this.
There is a guy doing this. I think there was still like, it's a few hit and runs. I don't know how much they put it together at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of hard to know if they were like, there's a lot of hit and runs happening with stolen cars. You would think at that point we definitely know who it is.
Yeah.
And he's also like hitting them and they're staying on the bonnet of the car.
That's terrifying. Yeah.
She told her aunt this was a deliberate attack. So the youngest one, 10-year-old Therese, ran to her aunt's house and said this was a deliberate attack. There was no mistaking this for an accident. A headline was printed the next day. Is there a hit and run maniac on the loose?
Yes.
Here we go.
Spoiler alert.
That's going to be a yes from me. 3 of these hit and runs had now been committed in 6 weeks. It was decided that there was now one perpetrator committing all of these crimes. In September of 1962, I find it interesting. A lot of these crimes happened in September. I don't really know why. Eric spent another month in prison for loitering. When he's released, he spent some time in the country.
So he's spending time because he's got a record. Because they're like, stop loitering.
Yeah.
You've been loitering before, you're going to jail for a bit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so they knew him as a prowler.
Yeah.
But they didn't think that he was harming anyone. They thought Cookie was quite charming.
Yeah.
So they didn't suspect him right away, but they definitely knew him as a prowler. When he was released, he spent some time in the country, so, like rural. I always like the Australians say the country, and people go, what country? But you're like, no, so like out in a rural area.
Trees and stuff.
Yeah, just trees and stuff.
Maybe by a brook.
Yeah, that's nice. Hardly know her. Something like that.
Something like that.
I can't finish all the jokes that I start. When he was released, he spent some time in the country, still loitering outside people's windows, and had some close encounters with people catching him. I think it was quite rural. And, walking up to houses that you're obviously probably walking a big driveway up, and he was caught by a few people. In 1962, Eric was robbing the house of Anne Melvin. He saw her lying alone in bed, grabbing a length of towel and strangling her. He heard a noise outside, went to check what it was, and when he came back inside, he realised that Anne was waking up. So he's actually strangling her as she was. Yeah. He got a pair of stockings and tied her to the bed with them. He heard another noise and went outside, but when he came back, Anne was very much awake. She started screaming and Eric fled. Anne's sister was away at the time, but usually was with her and ended up running outside, half naked, screaming for her sister, who she thought had been kidnapped.
Oh, shit. Oh, fuck.
So her sister was away, but she thought she's usually here. She's disorientated.
Yeah.
An ambulance was called. A few months after that, Eric spent the evening playing 10-pin bowling, this time tying a handkerchief around his face so he wouldn't be recognised. He was worried that Anne had seen too much of his very distinctive face. I say distinctive face because he had a scar and a cleft palate and everything. You're distinctive. Look at your distinctive face.
Stay home if you
Stay
think
home.
that's more obvious.
Yeah. Just a handkerchief around your house.
But I guess he loves going out and loitering and bowling
and all of that stuff.
Hitting people with
hobbies
cars.
include loitering and bowling. He saw a woman, Peggy, sleeping out the front of her house. The woman sat up and shouted. He shone the torch in her eyes so she couldn't see him properly. I think a lot of killers have done this, the shining to kind of disorientate people.
Yeah.
He shone the torch in her eyes so she couldn't see him properly. She would not stop screaming. Her story matched the stories of many others who had seen a prowler with white gloves. Mm-hmm. Police started increasing surveillance around that time. A detective working on the case, Inspector Lamb, said it was important to catch him before he escalated things further. And it did.
Okay.
Another Tim Winton tweet.
Here we go, all right.
Which is accompanied by a photograph of a seagull. So this is a seagull, just an angry-looking seagull on the beach.
Yep.
And it says, astonishing creature. Don't know what it is and don't care to. So he hates gulls, this Tim Winton, this fake Tim Winton. Don't know what it is and don't care to. On Australia Day, as it's called, or Invasion Day, as it's known to a lot of people, Eric went bowling, visited his mother, and had a few drinks. He broke into her house and stole some money and a few valuables. He looked into the wardrobe and found a rifle and ammunition. He then broke into the house of a senator, stealing money, and then broke into another house, but the light was on, so he skipped it and stole a car out the front instead.
That tracks, man.
He parked in a nature strip and started roaming the streets, or prowling.
Sure, yeah.
He spotted a couple parked in a car. He watched them. Rowena Reeves and Nicholas August. They had been friends, but that night, the two of them... Also, they'd been with other friends, but that night, the two of them were drinking champagne in the car. So after that experience, then they were just the two of them alone.
Yeah.
I made that way more complicated than it needed to be.
Yeah, I got it. You didn't
it's
need
just
to
two
do
people
that.
in a car. No. Nicholas was married, so there was something a little suspicious about these two hanging out.
Okay.
Eric was waiting for the mood to heat up a little, but then Rowena turned on the interior light and could see Eric in the bushes. Nick yelled at him and threw a bottle at him. Rowena then saw the gun and yelled for him to duck down. Eric fired and hit the back of Nick's neck, which went through Rowena's wrist.
Oh, God.
So it went through the neck and through her wrist. Eric got up and shot at the car, but they got away and they made it to hospital. Police were called and they gave a description of the person. So as far as I know at this time, this is the first time a description of him has ever really been given, but it was also from the bushes. It was kind of harder to get that.
Yeah.
Eric got to a home and he walked right into a bedroom where 29-year-old Brian Weir was sleeping. Eric pointed the gun at him, shooting him at point-blank range.
Just completely random.
Yeah, yeah.
This is that night.
This is that night. This is, that same night. The force of it threw Brian's body into the air. Brian was due to be married in a few months. Eric got back into the car, roaming the streets looking for his next victim. John Sturkey was sleeping on his veranda. Eric went into the house first to see if there was anything he wanted to eat in the fridge first, then shot John in the forehead. John was only a teenager. The next house, Jesus. Eric knocked on the door. When it was answered, he was standing there with his rifle pointed right at the person. Eric shot George Wormsley in the forehead. His daughter found her father in a pool of blood. Eric abandoned the gun and headed home. I had a teacher at school whose name was Mrs. Wormsley, and her catchphrase, which was fun, was not too hot, not too cold, just Wormsley. That's fun.
That's cute.
She's an older lady. She's a religious education teacher.
That's
not
lovely.
for the Methodist Church, of course.
No, of course not. Why would she?
Hey, we're sponsored by them. Don't forget that.
Yeah, that's right.
That night, Brian was the only survivor. He was totally paralysed and needed round-the-clock care for the rest of his life, which was sadly only 3 years after.
So the one who was shot at the
point
doorstep.
Yeah,
he lived for a bit.
Yes, yeah. Sorry, that was the guy.
The guy in the
bed,
car.
The young guy.
The guy in the bed. Sorry, yeah, because he shot three people.
That night. Yeah. So Brian was the only survivor. The investigation got into this. So the investigation was then massive. So there was like this, as they called it, the Australia Day shootings, quite massive.
Yeah.
Every police officer in Perth was involved, and there was now 24-hour increased surveillance to find this person. There were two initial suspects who were both dismissed. Police found the gun and matched it to the bullets found. Nick August and Rowena Reeves, who were the two people in the car, were treated as a separate case.
Come on.
The police didn't believe... What are we doing here? Come on, Perth. The police didn't believe the story of them seeing Eric in the bushes. They said there was no way they saw him.
What did they think happened?
I don't know. I think... it's hard to know. I think maybe because they were having an affair or something and trying to come up with a story.
Okay.
But
Right.
Why they were shot. I don't know. There's something, but they were definitely shot. It's like crazy to make that up.
You got shot, but we don't believe that you saw anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, but you got shot by no one. The police didn't believe the story of them and seeing Eric in the bushes. They said there was no way they saw him. The police did a test and thought that they must have known their attacker.
Right, okay.
Wild. I don't understand that. The final police report stated they did not believe them. Their version of events, yeah. A detective had told the court that he was sure there was no connection between the stabbing of Penny and was not related to the latest shootings. So Penny was the very glamorous person. The Perth public were relieved that there was not some serial killer on the loose, but life was different now. I also think it's probably better to believe there's a serial killer than lots of random people
They're on the
committing
side
these
of
crimes.
caution, you know?
I think it's so weird to just be like, oh, we feel relaxed now because there's not a serial killer.
Yeah, there's just, 6 different terrible things happened.
They started locking their doors and not leaving their car, the keys in the ignition of the car.
Makes sense.
So that's, I guess, change Perth. Eric was a very different killer. He seemed to have lots of different methods. He would go a long time between crimes and would run people down with his car, shoot or stab. It was difficult to believe that this was the one person. He also left a lot of people without killing them. After Australia Day, a little bit of heat had been taken off Eric. A man had shot and killed a police officer and was on the run. There was a manhunt for this person, and Eric was prowling the streets again. Not so worried that he was ever going to be caught. He stole a car and had in his head that he wanted to kill people by hitting them with his car. He attempted to hit some people on a Vespa, but another car got in his way. He then saw a woman walking by the name of Rosemary Anderson. She had just had an argument with her boyfriend, John. He tried to follow her and then let her go for a bit, waited, and then decided to follow her again. In time, Eric had run her down. In that time. So as John went away and then, came back, Eric had already run her down. He tried to find her and then turned back. So he went too far, then came back in his car, spotting a pile of something on the road, and he couldn't be sure what it was. He didn't think it was possible it was her. He saw her covered in blood. He tried to wake her up, but she was unconscious. He picked her up and took her to the hospital, but she was the same size as him, so it was incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
At the time, 3 people were watching him carry a body, and they were wondering if this was the Australia Day killer. The 3 guys in the car followed him. When they saw him at the doctor's surgery, they then went to go and help him. They were like, well, why would the Australia Day killer take this person to the hospital as well? John explained to the doctor what happened. The doctor called the ambulance and the police took her to a bigger hospital to deal with it. So I think it was just a very small doctor's surgery there. Eric had at the time rammed the car into a tree to hide the evidence. He opened the 2 doors of the car to make it look like it had been a joyride, and the people just got out and ran. John seemed a bit off to police. He was really nervous at the time. There were tiny dents in his car, so they started to look into him. They told John that he wouldn't be going to see Rosemary. He'd been taken to the station to go over his story time and time again. They questioned him all night. He answered all of the questions, and at 2:15 a.m, he gave a written statement. The police did not trust him. They believed that the reason they had an argument did not check out.
Did they say why?
Well, the couple had a fight over fish and chips. It was a very simple fight, and the police didn't believe it. They just went, there's no way that she would storm out over a fight over fish and chips.
It was indicative of larger problems.
Absolutely. Well, it's never just the fight. It's not about the fish and chips.
No.
It's never about the fish and chips.
Never.
John had lied to the police. He said that they both got the fish and chips and headed back home, but that wasn't exactly true. On the way back with the fish and chips, they had parked the car and had some fun. But John didn't want to tell the police this. Rosemary was 17 and John was 19 at the time.
Okay.
And he also didn't want to say that, they were together in that way. Yeah. So knowing he had lied to the police, then they didn't trust him. And that made John a little more nervous. After a break, John asked if he could go and they could tell him about Rosemary and he could go and see her. The police then told him that Rosemary was dead.
Shit. Okay.
So he could have seen her in those moments, and that was there. John went to the bathroom and threw up. He was devastated. His whole world had been destroyed. They were planning on getting engaged. John made a decision. He told the police that he would say whatever they wanted, and he was going to tell them whatever they wanted to hear. He confessed to Rosemary's murder. At that point, he just wanted to get out of the room and thought this was the only way the police would let him out. I mean, he's 19 years old. And also, like, that's a thing that seems to happen in false confessions. It's like...
You're wearing someone down.
You just let me out of this room. And it's like, well, obviously, if you confess to a murder, you're not going to be let out of the room.
Absolutely. I mean, you go to a different room.
Different room. A very different room.
Also, not having sleep is torture. If I don't get sleep, I wake up and I'm like, I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah.
But if I wake up with some sleep, I'm like, yeah, everything's all right.
Everything's all right. Actually, I feel pretty confident about today. I feel really good about it.
Sorry, can I stuck to the loo?
Hey!
Sorry.
He gave another written statement changing why they had argued, that he tried to get fresh and she rejected him. We don't really say get fresh anymore.
Not anymore, not after this.
Not after this. She got really angry about it and left the house. He stated that he was driving as fast as he could next to her to scare her and accidentally hit her. He was held in solitary confinement.
Why? It's fascinating.
Yeah.
People, I mean,
these false confessions, it happens all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I've never been in this situation.
Never confessed.
Maybe I'd just be like, try this out.
Yeah, try this out. It's also so funny as well, just so you know this, Diggs is waiting by the door.
Oh, because he heard the...
Well, so he believes that anyone that walks in that front gate, and as you know, this is quite a big apartment building. There's lots of different apartments. Anyone that walks through that gate, Diggs strongly believes that they're coming to see him. He's just got this confidence about him. So he's just like, of course they're coming to see me. Why else would they be here?
Look at him now. He's embarrassed.
He's embarrassed. Sorry, Diggs. Now we're going to flash forward. April 29th, 1963, John Button's trial was about to commence. John's family were convinced he didn't do it and managed to get him a great lawyer by the name of Ken Latfield, who was not at first convinced of John's innocence, but he later came around to it. I say he's a great lawyer. That's what I've read. I'm not saying that's confirmed.
Australia's greatest lawyer.
He's Australia's most celebrated lawyer. He told him to take a plea deal. Ron Wilson was the prosecution. It only lasted 8 days. Ken asked the judge to not bring the confession into the trial, as John said he lied about it, and it was actually forced out of him. The judge said that it wouldn't be allowed in the opening statement, so the prosecution was not able to mention it. So pretty good that you're not able to mention a false confession at this point. The prosecution stated that he'd absolutely intended to murder her, and it was not an accident.
Was there any... Did he have any dings in his car or whatever?
He did have some.
Okay, because everybody did. It seems in this story.
Yeah. There's a Perth drivers, am I right?
That happens to me. Like not. You know, someone just opened a door in my car or whatever. Like an old lady did it to me yesterday, and I'm just like,
so you say for insurance purposes.
I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
I'm about to have a midlife crisis. I'm going to get a Ferrari.
Don't mind me. I'm just over here having a midlife crisis. The forensic examiner had found microscopic drops of blood on John's bonnet. But the deaths didn't seem... but the dents didn't seem to be consistent with hitting a person in such a violent
drops
manner.
of blood.
Yeah. But you wouldn't think that would be... I don't know. You wouldn't think hitting someone would actually just have microscopic.
No.
Rosemary's father said that he saw the damage to John's car prior to Rosemary's death. But he only noticed...
she's like...
he's like, he didn't do it.
Yeah.
But it really only noticed it afterwards, really. The people who saw John at the time said they didn't have the best view, but only saw John leaning over the body. So remember those 3 people in the car?
Yeah.
They testified and were like, yeah, we didn't really... But also, why would he take her to hospital if he killed her, you know? The defense then called up the detective in charge of the case when they talk about the confession, so the jury had to leave it until this point. More than a day passed to argue whether or not the confession could be brought up. John said that the police said things like, if you did knock her down, we're going to find out the truth either way, and kept grilling him. Any mistake he made, they would grill him harder and harder. So, you know, like little inconsistencies with the story, they would go, well, why'd you say that if this actually happened? Like the fight over the fish and chips, as you call it, the F's and C's. I love what you call it that. You're famous for that sort of stuff. But yeah, so why would you say you had a heated argument over this, and why'd you change that story? The inconsistencies were really his downfall.
Was the getting fresh thing, was that the truth of it? Or
don't know. I think it was the fish and chips, but it was apparently such a small argument. Also, Also, there was someone else there while they had the argument.
Oh, okay.
So you would feel like they would come forward. I don't know if they did.
Yeah.
But it feels really weird that I think it was like John's brother or something. You wonder why they didn't come forward and say, yes, the fight was over this.
Yeah.
Which you think would have cleared, I don't know. Any mistake he made, they'll grill him harder and harder. All he wanted to do was find out if Rosemary was okay at that point. So he was just going, whatever you need, I'll do, but just please tell me. John said that he confessed because it was the only way that he would be able to leave. The judge then stated that he will allow the confession to be read in front of the jury.
Right.
The confession was allowed to be read to the court. The evidence was presented and before the prosecution, along with the confession, and it was fairly convincing. There was no doubt that Rosemary was hit by a car, but the question was it John? There was a tiny bit of blood on the bonnet and there were dents in his car. If it wasn't John, then who did it? It would have been a pretty colossal coincidence.
So they didn't find the other car?
They did find it crashed, I think.
But they didn't think it was the...
No,
because he crashed into a tree.
Joyride, yeah.
That's right, yeah.
After the closing arguments, John Buttons was found guilty after not much deliberation.
If I heard that, I'd be like...
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a pretty big coincidence, isn't it? He was then... he's found not guilty of the murder, but he is found guilty of manslaughter.
Okay.
He was sentenced to 10 years in prison with hard labour. I don't know if that's a regular thing or not. Hard labour, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
it's easy labour.
Easy labour.
Easy labour. Just pick that up when you're ready. Hey, bend your knees. Back to the night after John Buttons confessed to a crime he did not commit. We are back to what Eric did that night, seemingly unfazed by what he had done. Now, I will remind you at this point that this sounds like a game show or something. You've got two questions. No, I will remind you at this point as well that two people are in prison for crimes that...
Yeah. So what was the first one again?
So that was Daryl Beamish, who they believe killed... You know, he was the guy that was going away anyway, and they believe...
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah,
so this was the thing. It was just like, how awful, like two people...
Yeah.
And obviously Daryl Beamish, there's things going on with him.
We all hate Daryl Beamish.
We hate Daryl Beamish. But also the... This one, it's John. How awful. He'd been put away for a crime he did not commit. I would like to stop for a moment.
Okay.
And I would like to read you another Tim Winton tweet.
I'm ready.
I'm just an average man. I watch the news at 7. I drink my beer. My small beachside community hides a big secret that, if exposed, would tear it apart. That is so Tim Winton.
It's incredible.
A few weeks later, it was an extremely hot night in Perth. So we're flashing.
This is a long tweet.
We're flashing, yeah.
Sorry,
we're flashing back. Hey, I'm just having some fun up here. We're now flashing back. So we're going back to the night that John confessed to that murder. So Eric is still out and about. It's a hot night that night. Eric was doing his regular prowling around and he came across the house of a person named Jennifer Hurst and another person by the name of Lucy Madrill. Lucy was a health worker helping Aboriginal women and children in remote areas. Jennifer and Lucy had only moved into the house together 2 months earlier. Eric had already broken in a few weeks earlier, so he knew the place. On this particular night, he came across Jennifer's room and stole some money, then headed into Lucy's room. He walked over to the bed and knocked a photo off her nightstand, which woke her up. She tried to run away, but Eric hit her and got her in a chokehold. He took her into the spare room and strangled her with a cord until she went still. Trigger warning here, and this is, another thing that, I mean, this is such an awful, awful thing that I want to put in here just because it's the full Eric Cooke story.
Yeah. Trigger
Trigger warning here, but then he raped her dead body.
Jesus.
He dragged her outside. Her cat was attacking him as he dragged her outside. As he dragged her outside and to the house behind it, which was owned by a family by the name of the Noble family, who were really wealthy. He dumped her body under their washing line. There was an empty whiskey bottle, so
Why?
he took it. I don't know. I don't know why he did this. I don't know why he actually took her somewhere else to hide her.
Yeah, like that.
He hasn't done this in any other circumstance,
No.
so it seems so bizarre. But this was the thing. He he was chaotic and he changed his MO every time, it seems. I think maybe you'd think so. They don't link it to the one person. I don't know. There was an empty whiskey bottle, so he took it and inserted it inside her and then took it out and left it lying under her armpit. The Noble family found her the next morning. The police were baffled. The fact that her housemate didn't wake up and they kind of decided at that point it must be someone who's done this before because they're quite calculated and know what they're doing. There had been many reports of a prowler yet again.
Because he took her out of the room and strangled her in a
separate room. Yeah.
And then dragged her out.
It doesn't really make sense. I don't know how she didn't wake up, but yeah. The person who lived in the house before them moved out partly because of how scared they were.
Yep.
So they noticed there was a prowler around. They went, and I don't think you have to declare that to the person that's moving in after you going, oh, don't move in there. It's a horrible prowler. This time they found semen on top of the whiskey bottle and they were able to get the blood type from this. So obviously DNA is still not a thing, but you can get the blood type from it. The whiskey bottle was taken to London to be examined, but sadly the results came back with nothing. So what now?
What were they hoping to find on it? Like,
I don't know. I don't know what they were trying to find.
So
I guess the semen but I don't know what you're testing for there. If DNA is not a thing, I don't know. Maybe the blood type, they were hoping that there might be something else.
Yeah.
Fingerprints, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Eric spent most of 1963 breaking into houses, petty theft, and continued his prowling. He was enjoying the atmosphere that he had created in Perth at this time, so he's quite proud of everyone being quite scared. The city was on alert after another attack and watching out for the prowlers.
Sorry.
Hey, never apologise for that. You know what? You're welcome to cough.
Thanks.
Anytime you want.
Sorry.
Please, no, not that time. Perth was a place where you wouldn't lock your doors, like we said before, lock your car, but people started doing that after all of these prowling break-ins and all the attacks.
They think it might be a crime wave.
Yeah, like who knows?
And this is one guy every night.
Every night.
Just...
people got security dogs too for extra protection. So you imagine like Diggs, but like really good at protecting.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Think about Diggs, but really good at actually protecting.
I mean, he's big. If you saw
He's a
him,
big boy. Actually, yeah, that's true. But he's got his little froggy bear just there, and he's got his pink flamingo just next to me. Like he's not the scariest dog I've ever seen. Eric walked into a random house when a woman was making dinner. She was shocked, but she decided to remain calm. He asked her lots of questions and finally left. How bizarre is that? Like, just walk into someone's house, ask some questions, and then leave. And she was just like, how brave of her just to go, I'll just remain calm because, you know, I guess how you treat a bear.
And so confident at this point. Just be like, I'll have a chat.
I know. And the amount of times a bear
no handkerchief across the face.
Not this time. One night in June 1963, Carmel Reed was sleeping. She heard movement and woke up. She saw a man at the end of her bed. Eric shone a torch in her face and stabbed at her with an umbrella. Carmel tried to get away by throwing the blankets at him. So stabbing maybe more of a poke, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
So weird. He tried to punch her, but Carmel did not fall down and kept running. Eric ran under the house. Carmel ran into her housemate's room screaming. The neighbours came over and the police investigated. 2 months after this, Eric committed his final murder. Shirley MacLeod was a student and had taken up babysitting. It was a dark and stormy night outside. So,
geez, Louise.
2 months after this, Eric committed his last murder. Shirley MacLeod was a student and had taken up babysitting. It was a dark and stormy night outside, straight out of a horror film. Shirley was sitting in the house when Eric entered. He had driven around the suburbs that night in his own car. So very different, like he's in his own car.
Yeah.
He had previously broken into a house and was starting to enjoy the risk of being seen. He left the house after finding a gun. He was then looking for his next victim. The victim was going to be Shirley MacLeod. There were a few more other survivors that night. He pointed a gun at a few women that night who narrowly escaped. Shirley was in her study. When the parents arrived home, they found Shirley covered in blood. Her hand was still holding a pen, which showed that Eric walked in and shot her with her head down studying.
Geez, so she didn't... Oh, God.
Yeah. The father ran up to the bedroom, locked the door, and called the police when he thought it was safe. So obviously in that moment you're like, is there someone else around?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening? Police continued the investigation. They linked it to the Australia Day shootings. It was very similar to the death of George Wormsley, who was the man that was just shot point blank in the house. 50 detectives worked and canvassed the neighbourhood, interviewing over 8,000 people. There was a fingerprint found in the house this time. No matches were found after fingerprinting the people in the house, which was a good sign. It meant it was someone else. It meant that they had a fingerprint of their person. Again, if they did this with babies, this wouldn't have happened. We wouldn't be here. On the 16th of August 1963, an elderly couple were walking and found a rifle buried in some flowers. Not even buried, just like discarded in some flowers.
Sounds like it, yeah.
They called the police to tell them what they found. The police went to the gun and were hopeful it would be the murder weapon, and it was a match. It was likely, though, that the killer would return to collect it. They set up some fishing line around the gun and waited. So police are reporting around then. Oh, my God, incredible stuff. The kind of technology that was used at that time. Eric came to collect the gun on the 31st of August. He was prowling that night and waited for the streetlights to go off so he could take the gun without being spotted. The detectives were watching as he pulled up. They knew they had their man. Eric opened the door of the car really slowly. He stood in the doorway, looking around, being extra cautious. Eric had crossed over the bush and was retrieving the gun. The detectives sprung into action, grabbing Eric from behind and handcuffing him to a fence behind him.
What was the fishing line for?
I don't know what the fishing line was for. I feel like it would just trigger them or something.
Yeah.
It felt like a trigger, but it didn't seem like it was linked to anything.
What kind of fucking famous five fucking tactic is that?
They really thought they were like, what's the...
String in a cup, call it in.
Yeah,
like, what are we doing?
Yeah. They really thought there was some sort of really, really clever inspector, but it's like, you just put fishing line there.
Yeah.
He just stepped over it. They finally had the night caller. The man who had terrorised Perth for so long.
At this point, when was his first murder? Like mid-50s?
Yeah, so years ago.
Maybe?
Yeah. So a few years, really.
Yeah.
But, it kind of terrified every single person at the time. So, we've finally got him. They noticed right away that he had really soft hands.
Oh, that's something.
And he was also mumbling to himself. The detective called for backup. He had on his white silk gloves, which explained his soft hands. Eric had women's underwear on him and a newspaper where news of a wedding was happening that day and the address was circled.
Dude.
So you'd think that maybe he's going to go and, actually kill the people at the wedding? And, I'm not even invited.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
The main thing I took away from this. Eric had been arrested before, so he knew the drill. He was chatting to police and more than happy to talk about all the houses he had broken into that night. He was detailing everything. He could not talk about the murders at all. He denied everything. He said that he had been out that night and had found the gun earlier that day. He said he wanted to sell the gun. The police continued to question him, but weren't really getting anywhere with Eric. They then brought in two detectives who had a strong existing relationship with Eric, or as they called him, Cookie.
Right.
They'd been talking to him since he stole the money box from the church, the Methodist Church. He wasn't as chatty as usual, but was happy to speak to police. Eric had told police that he was at the bowling alley that night of Shirley's murder, and then he went straight home. He told them that his alibi was his wife again. But this time, James Clement, his wife was not going to go along with it.
Nice.
They turned up to talk to Sally, but she told them the truth. He was not home that night. Eric didn't believe that she didn't vouch for him when they brought Sally in, and she told him exactly what she had said. He asked why she said that. He was like, why didn't you go along with it? And she replied, because it's the truth, Eric, and you know it. I think after that long, you've had 7 or 8 kids
absolutely.
with him as well. It's like,
and he's out every night.
Yeah.
Probably sleeping late.
That's right.
Yeah.
In Eric's van, police found a cartridge of ammunition that linked it directly to the death of Shirley. With this evidence, he confessed. He was charged with willful murder. His confession did say at the time that he had a blackout at the time of the murder. Eric's face was all over the papers the next day. Nobody expected him. A weird man that was fairly charming. That's what they call me. So similar description for me. Weird man, but weirdly charming
something about
as well. Yeah. I can't fault that there's something about that guy. There was still some more work to be done. He was continually questioned. He told police insane levels of detail about the break-ins, but not about the murder. So he's more than happy to confess to all of the break-ins. Yeah. He could tell them every little detail.
I was going to say, because there's so much detail in this. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Remembers exactly
everything.
What he stole and
the cars and where he left the cars or dumped the cars, but was not talking about the shootings. Then the police took him to the pub for lunch, because Australia. And they told him he was going to be hanged anyway. So why wouldn't he confess to the murders?
Dude, we fucking got it.
Have some schnitzel? You want some gravy for that peppercorn? Or what do you want? Whatever you want, mate. Whatever you want. Did he want to die a coward? Why wouldn't he just confess to the murders? Then he told them that he would confess to everything. So, like, pretty intense, like, going for lunch with him and everything.
Absolutely.
Like, that is so Australia. Like, especially, like...
This'll get him.
Yeah, that'll get him. This time they drove around and he told the police everything. Exhaustive detail about every single thing. There was no one else that could know this stuff. He was a bit excited to be talking about the crimes.
That's often the case, isn't it? They're like, finally, I can get into this.
Exactly. And like, so nuts to do that as well, just to be like, I've never told anyone. And I think that would be the thing about a lot of these crimes and everything over the years. It's like, if you're a killer and you've never told anyone, that would be insane to just be like, I finally got a way to tell people.
Yeah.
What the fuck do I do? Like, it's just like, it's so nuts. All right, ready for this. We're getting into the nitty-gritty detail.
Okay.
That's what we're getting into now. He could remember every single detail about that night and where he threw the rifle from the Australia Day shootings into the river, which they found. Police asked Eric why he committed the crimes, and he said, I just wanted to hurt somebody. With his wife and detectives, Eric wrote out a confession of all the crimes he committed on Australia Day. The judge was the father of John Sturkey's girlfriend, one of the men who was killed in the shootings.
Oh, okay.
It's a very small town. Eric started giving details of and more of the assaults. He said there were also 2 people in prison for crimes he committed, but the police did not want to hear it. They didn't believe. Don't worry about that. They didn't believe him and thought that they had got their people who definitely did it and hadn't made any mistakes. Eric told them all of the details of the attacks. For the death of Rosemary, he could show them the exact tree that he actually crashed into. He was once again telling them insane levels of detail. He wrote a full confession to this. But police did not want to believe him. They had already put 2 people in prison and found that Eric's accounts were a bit all over the place. He said that he absolutely did it. Police asked him to retract his confession, and he did. He did the same thing for the Beamish murder, but the police asked him to retract his statement again. Eric then confessed to all of the hit and runs he committed. Police could not believe that this was all the same person. Police went to the people involved in the hit and runs and told them that they had their person. After initial denials regarding the McLeod murder, I was about to say McLeod Daughters, the TV show, Cooke cracked after one of the detectives, Max Baker, snapped at him. Cookie, you're going to hang. There's no doubt about it. You got a wife and kids, think of them. And then think about whether you're going to be dragged to the gallows like a mongrel dog or you're going to go be there like a man. Eric was set to stand trial, all right, I can't argue with that, I guess, in November of 1963. The person to represent Eric was Ken Hatfield, the man who had also represented John Buttons. Eric confessed everything to Ken. Ken was shocked at the level of detail. In the court, he confessed to even more murders and said that police asked him to retract his statements. He continued to confess.
So he just wants
to get it all out there. Was Eric sane enough to be responsible for the murders? His psychiatrist's assessment proved that he was. He had a concept of right and wrong. His defence argued that his childhood was a reason for him doing what he did. Eric also told the court that he was unable to stop himself from committing the crimes and it was the voice of God. The psychiatrist said it was hard to know if he was sane or not and did not know if he was suffering from schizophrenia. The next day, the jury only took 1 hour to deliberate. They found him guilty. He was to be sentenced to death. He was going to be hanged for John Sturkey's murder. Eric decided he would not appeal his conviction. He said he did it and that he deserved to be punished for it. Eric's lawyers then set their sights on freeing John Button and Daryl Beamish. Eric wrote out his confession to these murders again. He did not want to die without confessing to them and setting these people free. The confessions were extremely detailed.
Was this more of like a pride thing?
I think it was. I think he was excited by some of the murders that he started to confess to.
Yeah.
And he was just like, I may as well
confess. Because he clearly didn't care that these people were in jail prior.
Not at all. Yeah. Not at all. Eric Edgar Cooke was hanged on October 26, 1964. There was a news piece on the radio at the time.
That's a quick turnaround.
Very quick, yeah. Saying that Eric should be retried for the crime, but Eric said that he would do it himself. If they didn't do it, he would actually end his own life if they didn't. Okay. He was done and was ready to go. He told a reverend that 2 men were still in prison for crimes that he'd committed. He took the Bible and swore on it that he killed these people. Officers arrived at 6 a.m. to start the proceedings. He waited for 90 minutes. At 7:45 a.m., he said to the reverend just before the executioner arrived, I swear before Almighty God that I killed Anderson and Brewer. A white hood was placed over Eric's head with the nooses pulled around his neck. The trapdoor was released and it took a minute before he was pronounced dead. Sally did not attend the funeral because she was not told about it.
Oh, okay.
Which is bizarre.
Didn't get the invite.
No, didn't get the invite. Yeah. Invite to your own husband's. Well, I mean, at that point, she was like, I don't know.
There was a funeral?
Apparently.
Who was there?
I don't know.
All the cops that liked
All the cops that like Cookie. Despite Eric's 1963 confession, Beamish served his 15 years.
Oh, shit.
While John Button was sentenced to 10 years and ended up serving 5. In 2002, the Court of Criminal Appeal quashed John's conviction. John's success opened the way for an appeal by Beamish, who was acquitted in 2005. In both cases, the appeal judge found that the murders had most likely been committed by Eric Edgar Cooke.
Just a casual 40 years after.
Oh, my God. On the 2nd of June 2011, Beamish was granted a $425,000 payment by the Western Australian government.
Was he the child molester?
Yeah.
All right.
I don't like that. No. I don't know. I couldn't find what happened to John. I'm hoping that John got some sort of payout or
you'd
something.
Think.
My God. In November 2020, Stan, the streaming service here in Australia, released an original 4-part docuseries, After the Night, covering the story of Cooke's murders. He's also referenced throughout Sharknet by Robert Drew, Australia's most celebrated author. He's referenced as the Nedlands Monster.
You mentioned that he knew somebody who was murdered.
Yeah. So he knew, I think, the people in the car.
Oh, okay,
right.
Yeah.
And he also killed a boy, I think that... Yeah, I can't remember the exact details.
Oh, he killed a boy as well.
I think so. Apparently he knew... I think there's a lot more crimes that Eric Edgar Cooke committed, and I can't remember exactly in Sharknet which one, but I mean, as Australia's most celebrated author, we could just ask him.
I mean, I could recite that book.
You could recite that book, yeah, absolutely. In Tim Winton's 1991 novel, Cloud Street, and in the 2009 Craig Silvey novel, Jasper Jones. And that, James, is the story of Eric Edgar Cooke, also known as the Nedlands Monster or the Night Caller. And I'd like to end on a tweet from Tim Winton.
This one's actually from Tim Winton.
This is actually from Tim Winton, yeah. Bit of a ruckus yesterday when one of the boys fell asleep on the beach and the rest of us decided to build a lady body over him out of sand. Big mistake. We made it too beautiful and now each of us has fallen in love. Isn't that beautiful?
That is beautiful.
Tim Winton.
I fucking hated that.
Yeah, I know. It's such a full-on story as well. There's so much in there. There's so much detail in there. It's just wild.
I mean, at least they got him and killed him. Which, you know, I'm not pro death penalty.
No.
At all.
Last man hanged in Australia.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a good one to end on.
He was a real monster. Yeah. Real monster.
What was he, like 33? You said he was born
he must have been.
31?
Yeah. He must have been about 33 years old.
Jesus.
Yeah.
He did a lot of terrible shit.
Yeah.
In a really short.
Absolutely.
And
that's
he had
the thing.
7 kids.
7 kids in that time and would always just be out at night. His poor wife. Like, how awful. And to find that out about your loved one as well.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Didn't attend the funeral.
No. So his kids, well, they would be alive. A bunch of them, I'd imagine. His wife would be, 90 maybe?
Yeah,
If she's alive.
If she's alive, yeah. How insane is that, though?
Awful. I can't believe I never heard of
No.
I probably have, I don't know, but there's nothing.
We've obviously read the Sharknet.
Well, yeah, that's right. And I have read Cloud Street, so
there you go. But also maybe if it's referred to as the Nedlands Monster or something, you wouldn't know
Monster.
about it. Loch Ness, and of course Tim Winton, who's always talking because of a beautiful creature of the ocean.
Absolutely,
of course. Do you have a beautiful?
I do
Tim
actually.
Winton?
Yeah, this is my favorite Tim Winton.
Great.
Tweet.
Great. Tim Winto.
Who stopped tweeting like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, he did mysteriously.
This is from September 16th.
Great. Couple of 6 days before my birthday.
That's right. 8.
No, 8. Oh my God, that was so easy for me to do.
2018. The taxman came by the beach again, but I managed to avoid them by refusing to paddle back in, and eventually they got bored and left. I belong in prison, but I won't go.
God, he's good. He's good. Tim Winto. I just want to find out who that is.
I remember when I read that, I was crying.
Yeah.
I just
won't go. I won't paddle back in, and that's the only thing they can do. Come in. No. I won't go. Okay. I guess we can't do anything. It's so funny. He's just brilliant. And there's probably a lot of people out there, especially international listeners, that are going, I don't like this or get it. But you know what? It's
you're
fun.
right.
And you're actually right. You're not wrong, actually, and all of that stuff. Yeah, but so the Eric Edgar Cooke story, I wonder if it is really well known in Perth. I imagine it is really well known in Perth.
Totally. And also, like Perth, like you mentioned, it's a long way from
here. It's a long way.
Yeah.
The world's most isolated city.
Eric
it is.
Edgar Cooke.
Eric Edgar Cooke. But it is such a fascinating story because
this is... God, hell of a face on this guy.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, I'll be putting a photo up as the main tile for this one because I think it is really interesting to see him and just go, you know, he had a cleft palate, he had a scar on his face. He was quite recognisable person. Yeah. Which is bizarre that he got away with it.
Absolutely.
For so long.
Good head of hair.
Good head of hair, though.
But he was 33.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, isn't that nuts, though, to think of it and go, it happened in Australia. Yeah. And it's like, and he's not... Maybe not one of the most. And he's got that triple barrel, like the, John Wayne Gacy.
Absolutely,
he's got the Eric Edgar Cooke. He's got, which is bizarre that he got away with it for a long time.
And we've got a James Cooke as well, so maybe he's taken all the heat.
That's actually true. Yeah, first name, your first name and his last name.
I refuse to acknowledge that.
I refuse to acknowledge that, and I hate it. And also, I hate it. James, how do people find you if they want to look you up and actually check out what the hell you're doing?
Oh, man, they can find me just around, out and about. I'm the, come up and say hi, but you don't have to. And I don't want you to.
I won't force you to. I won't force you to say hi. Yeah, no, wonderful.
So as you mentioned, I have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk the movie or TV show of the week, and we do all the news surrounding that. And Mason and I do a series called Caravan of Garbage on YouTube where we look at old movies and go, look at this crap.
Look at this thing.
But sometimes we're like, this is pretty good.
Oh, I love that. Well, I'm going to say thank you to the wonderful Oliver Clark for doing the theme music.
He's the best.
Isn't he great?
I met him at your final live show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolute
Isn't he fantastic?
Delight.
Great singer-songwriter.
Incredible.
He's the best. And Tamsin Hayes for doing the artwork.
Don't know Tamsin, so...
You do, actually.
Do I?
You met her at the live podcast.
Oh, my God, I'm so sorry.
I've got to bleep how you know her because it's connected to someone that... the information is not. I'm going to stop talking right now. It's Will Anderson's girlfriend.
Oh no, of course I met her. Yeah.
Can
you take out this bit where I said I didn't know?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah, I'll have to weirdly bleep all of that stuff. But anyway, really loved Tamsin. She did the beautiful artwork.
I didn't know that. That's incredible.
She's so good. And leave a 5-star rating. Leave a 5-star review. You can watch us on YouTube.
You can,
but you have to goddamn subscribe. You have to goddamn follow because that's how we get more listeners. Share it with a friend. Write to me, Sammy at justanothercompany.com. fingerprintingcompany.com.au and leave me a little voicemail.
Just another company. That's a bit of fun, isn't it?
It's a little bit of fun for me. And I just have fun with my life. What's wrong with that? Lock me up if that's a crime.
How far do you think you're going to get into this where you've been like, I've read enough of murders?
I don't think ever. I'm always fascinated by it. And once my fingerprinting the baby thing comes in.
Oh, mate.
Yeah, oh my God, it's going to change the game.
You're going to catch so many people and
You're
you are
gonna catch so many
going to cash in.
And I insist on being there for every fingerprint. That's a crazy thing to just kind of promise that to people. I go, no, I will. CEO, founder, always there. With a police officer.
If you'll have me back, I do have a fun crime that I'd like to get
absolutely.
into.
Yeah. And I would love to do with you because I have been, so every week, do these episodes on the Monday, and it's like, the crime, the murders and everything and the really heavy stuff. And on Thursdays, when we like to do a kind of a lighter treat. And we say lighter, but it's usually a fraud or a scandal or anything. And I have been researching like crazy Yahoo Serious, who is an Australian filmmaker, very hard to describe.
You are speaking my language, man. That is just love all of that.
Yeah. So that'd be amazing to do with you because I think you want to talk about that.
Absolutely.
So let's do both. Let's do both
Please.
those episodes. Yeah.
And Yahoo series of his movie Reckless Kelly, I think it's just on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Hugo Weaving's in it. It's got some pretty solid jokes in it as well.
It really does. Yeah. And the theme that he started, because he started with Young Einstein, which was Einstein if Einstein was Australia. And then he did Reckless Kelly about the Kelly game.
What if Ned Kelly was Australian?
So it was quite interesting, like his history stuff that he started, which could have been quite a big thing. But then years and years later, he's suing Yahoo.com, the search engine.
Really?
That's kind of why it's a crime, because it's like, that's why I can kind of do it as this. Because it's not only that, he sued Yahoo for taking his name because people will be confused between him and a search engine.
A search engine nobody uses.
Anyway. And then also he was squatting in someone's house that was put into care, and he was just staying in their house and refusing to leave. Incredible.
I mean, I'm sure you've probably reached out, but what if you got him on?
Oh, I'd love to. I have tried to reach out to Yahoo because I wanted to do a podcast series called Where the Fuck is Yahoo Serious? And I just wanted to do it about him because it's like he disappeared from the spotlight in like 2007 or something and did a random screening of Young Einstein, I think, a few years ago, but has not been seen since. And I think he's quite sick and